Nice to be with you today after a brief trip to New York City to bring my oldest son back home from NYU. I got a full house, 2 kids.
Yeah. How's that working for you?
Well, I took the oldest to the dentist this morning. That was job number 1.
I mean, you survived a shipwreck and the Newark airport.
Twice?
All in one weekend. I'm thoroughly impressed.
Made it into Newark on Sun Country, no problem. Got back home on Delta during the rain, during choppy air. Who knows if there was anybody at air traffic control or not? I don't know. But it's good to be back. It's good to be with you today. While I was gone, we are in the midst of the 5-year post-George Floyd reckoning. And I need to know where you guys are at on the police chief of Minneapolis talking to a New York City tabloid and calling out the city's bourgeois liberal mentality. Because on the one hand, I think, look, there are a lot of wackadoos in the city of Minneapolis. There are a lot of people who are activists who, in my view, get elected because they're a good activist. And they represent the activist views of their specific ward. I have been vocal about the city council of Minneapolis being far left of what I think the mainstream of Minneapolis is. Although I find myself wondering if the mainstream of Minneapolis is wackadoo. Maybe the chief, if he had said that he thinks there's too many wackadoos in the city, instead of saying the city's bourgeois liberal mentality, maybe he'd be in better shape, but he is getting slammed from the city council, certainly. I think most of Minnesota agrees with the chief. I think there is little question that the city's inability to decide, this to me is our biggest failure post George Floyd, the city's inability to decide on a path forward. And largely it is because there is no solution left enough for some on the left. George Floyd Square, while some may point to it as a wonderful place of healing, I would look at it and say it looks ridiculous. For several years, it was unsafe. Police wouldn't go in there. Activists didn't want police in there. The biggest stain is the police precinct that is still, you can still see evidence of the fires that were set inside, the windows that were bashed open. That police precinct doesn't look much different than it did in the immediate aftermath of the riots and the aftermath of the murder of George Floyd. Here's my problem with what the chief says. Because while I think the chief is right, there are too many wackadoos in the city of Minneapolis who are more interested in advancing whatever their very specific vision is rather than looking big picture, what's best for the city to move forward. I don't see how any of this impacts policing in any way. 651-461-9226. Do you agree with the chief or do you not? What the chief is saying to me, and I do agree with his assessment of the political situation in Minneapolis, what I don't agree with is an assertion that it has affected policing in any way other than hurt feelings. And this has been an issue for me that I have raised for the last 3 years that I've been on this show. I think without question, police have been shaken by the fact that there is a very vocal, very aggressive anti-police attitude among a very small group in our population. And it's different. If you've been a police officer for most of your life, people have thanked you for your service. You've been thought of as a servant, a public servant, doing something heroic on a daily basis. Just the act of showing up to work as a police officer, I do think, is worthy of praise, because it's hard and you're putting yourself on the line for us. You deserve that praise. And also, I do think police are so thin-skinned about criticism. And I get it. Like, it's been piling up. A lot of it's unfair. But to me, what I don't understand is, why is there an argument at this time that somehow, like, the extreme left in Minneapolis is impacting the ability to do your job? Because at the same time today, the mayor is coming out talking about this independent review that took a look at progress that the city of Minneapolis has made over the last 4 years, even though they're not, for most of this time, they have not been under a Justice Department order. They've been investigated. They were under a state order. Now there's questions about where that's going to be. Regardless, the city has done, I think, some very good work. Things are different in the way the police department runs its business. Yesterday, 2 civilians were hired to head up. One is heading up internal affairs, which I think is a tremendous step forward, to have a non-police officer in a position to run these investigations when police are accused of doing something wrong. But I do think that it's too easy of a pass to say that the lefty agenda, the progressive, the bourgeois agenda, how does this affect anything? 651-461-9226. Jason, I agree with the chief. Minneapolis officials as a whole have been overtly anti-police. So if we accept that's true, which I would say, I do think the city council as a whole has been, well, I wouldn't say as a whole. I would say a good chunk of the city council has been anti-police. Another good chunk of the city council has been very skeptical of police. And then there are a couple people who have been very pro-police. I just think there's this eagerness to kind of paint everything with a broad brush. And while for my taste, the city of Minneapolis is the elected officials, specifically the city council, is way to the left of where I think progress lives in this city. I just question how that impacts the work of policing and how you can justify the fact that there's been a lot of progress. How can you take credit for that and then at the same time say, well, nothing's getting done because of all these crazy liberals? Dave is in Minneapolis. He's a retired officer on the CCO Talk and Text line. Dave, thanks for listening. Thanks for your years of being a police officer.
Thank you. I'm going to give you an example of kind of a circular problem. So you look at stolen automobiles.
Yep.
And they're involved in numerous fatalities, speeding down the road. Currently, there's a policy that you cannot chase a stolen car.
Right.
They can drive up to you, they can look at you, smile at you, wave, and take off at 80 miles an hour. You can't do that. And the reason so that's a policy that was driven and into force by the police department. And that was driven by the unfortunate fatal accidents caused by chases.
Right.
So you've got a very a problem that is very serious. It's very evident. It affects a lot of people, and there's no solution to it.
There is no solution.
None whatsoever.
Right. Right.
And
yeah, I mean, some of the prevention work maybe that they've been trying to do at the county attorney's office. I know a lot of police officers have publicly differed with the county attorney on her sort of maybe greater interest in rehabilitation instead of getting bad guys off the street. But
Yep. And
but
short
that
of
work
some
is about the
technical-
only thing that's really been going on to try to stop this, right?
Yeah, and so short of some technical thing where you can shut a car down or
Yeah.
you know, whatever, and that's
Right.
you know that's fantasy right at this moment. But there's just a good example of, well, the cops aren't doing their jobs because they're not chasing these criminals, and they're running into people and they're killing them, and it's like, well, sorry, you know, there's nothing more than we would like to do is catch these guys and put them away, but you can't.
Right.
So that then it turns into it's an us versus them mentality. Then it's like, well, you know, don't MF us for something we can't do.
Right. No, I get that, Dave. Do you think so? I believe, and I say this while still acknowledging that, like, being a police officer to me is still worthy of high praise. It's incredible work. It's so difficult every day. You know, when I go to work every day, I don't have a chance of losing my life. A police officer every day does have that chance. But I do feel like our police officers are not used to this sort of public scrutiny or criticism. And to me, some of the reaction from Chief O'Hara and other officers, to me, it's been an overreaction. That the fact that there are loud wackos in the city council should not cancel out the fact that, you know, the voters overwhelmingly rejected the idea of like reimagining policing. Most of us support the idea, you know.
Derek Chauvin is to thank for that, because nobody had to be on. I mean, you didn't have to you know, worry about someone having your back. After, you know, his actions brought upon such a change in the way each individual officer acts while he works, and whether he considers himself a warrior or whether he considers himself just a good guy that wants to do a good job, you know. And the minute it turns into us versus them, you know, then you've lost it.
It's a really good call. I always appreciate it. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for listening and for calling in. 321. Let's break. Lots of texts coming in. We welcome your calls at 651-461-9226. Is the chief right? Has this overly liberal, and sort of by bourgeois, he's saying it's sort of like rich liberals who don't really, you know, they sit in their fancy house and they have their policies. Has that affected policing? Do you buy it? 651-461-9226.
Don't touch that dial. More Drive Time with DeRUSHA coming up on News Talk 830 WCCO.
I need you to make yourself the priority. It's Jason here for Livia Weight Control Centers. It was around this time 3 years ago when I knew I needed to take action. I knew I couldn't keep on going the way I was. I needed help. Livia came through. You could lose 20 pounds or more in time for summer. How's that sound? Livia's award-winning plans can get you there. That is how I lost 45 pounds, and I've kept every single pound off because of Livia. Customized nutrition support and medical weight loss solutions. Now they've got the best GLP-1 pricing around. They've got supplements for accelerated results as well. 15 years they've been doing this. I'm one of many. And they're giving you 50% off just in time for your summer transformation. Join now. Come on. Join me. Join the 1 million pounds that Livia's lost for 30,000 plus people in Minnesota and Western Wisconsin. Amazing. Join now. 50% off your personalized nutrition program. I go to Coon Rapids. Where are you going to go? Go to Livia, LIVEA.com, or give them a call. 855-GO-LIVIA.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. No title? No problem. Call 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS or go online at carsforkids.org to donate today.
1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
William is one of millions of Americans who uses GoodRx to save on the cost of their prescriptions.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on 5 different medications. It adds up at the end of the month. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx saved you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. We're able to do all these extra activities. So it puts less stress on our household and it puts less stress on our pockets.
Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com and start saving today. GoodRx user compensated for their time. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body?
Huh?
That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you, and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSHA. Video streaming live on YouTube and always on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Norm died. George Floyd, who played Norm in Cheers. This breaking news just coming out. Died this morning, 76 years old. You know, Chicago guy. He's a big dude.
Was in the original Da Bears skit on SNL. And my favorite Normism from Cheers, which I was obsessed with in college. It's a dog-eat-dog world, Sammy, and I'm wearing milk-bone underwear.
Ah, what a great character. Great actor. Yeah. Norm Peterson was his breakthrough role in a great show. Chad was just tweeting about Cheers today.
It's a classic.
76, that story just breaking. We're talking about the chief of police, and the texters for sure believe that having a left-wing city council affects policing. And so here's my pushback. Why? If you're a police officer and you're letting some of the, and look, I am with you on the diagnosis of the reality. The reality is there are people like I think Aisha Chugtai, Robin Wansley are identify as Democrat socialists. They are, a texter calls them movement idealists who won't look at reality. And I do think our city council elections tend to be monopolized by people who are movement idealists, who have one issue that they're an activist on, and then they get elected to city council to represent their ward and have all sorts of issues that come up. So to me, I agree that this is the reality in the city of Minneapolis. But at the same time, when you look at the police budget, hasn't been cut, to my knowledge. You still have, a police contract that came and asked for significant raises to make Minneapolis police officers paid competitively. Thank goodness that was approved. We've seen growth in the number of people signing up to be police officers. So, yes, there are those people who are loud voices, but to me, see the police generally doing their thing, improving, doing better work. I don't see it as a major impetus in reforming policing and in doing good policing. The liberals have absolutely changed policing, says a 612 texter. It's not the wealthy thinking that way, but the inner city, middle to low income liberal. Another texter. The fact that the Minneapolis City Council does not have the backs of its officers absolutely affects the way they police. Proactive policing is nothing but a memory in Minneapolis. Another 612er. So my response to that is toughen up. You're going to have some city council members in a very liberal city who are going to have very liberal opinions. When the question was called to ask Minneapolis, do you want to re-envision policing? People said, no, I want policing. How much patting on the back does everybody need? We are with you. And I do not want to see our police force allow themselves to be convinced that everybody's out to get them. It's just not true. It's never been true. And I don't think it's productive in forging relationships with the city to be ripping on the residents in the New York Post or even ripping on the city council in the New York Post. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It's 3:31. Lots going on nationally in developments when it comes today to the release of Jake Tapper's book about Joe Biden, and really an unprecedented cover-up into Joe Biden's mental acuity or lack thereof. We're going to talk with Chris Cillizza, who has read the book, and he'll join us live in just a minute here on Drive Time.
Jason DeRUSHA returns shortly with more of Drive Time on News Talk 830 WCCO.
The countdown is on for one of the most fun and impactful days of the year on CCO Radio.
My name is Arissa, and my son Ethan is a bone marrow transplant recipient. Tune in to WCCO's Cure Blood Cancer Radio Auction, benefiting NMDP, to hear how our little boy is doing big things.
The third annual Cure Blood Cancer Radio Auction, where you'll have the chance to bid on one-of-a-kind experiences, with all the proceeds going to NMDP. Presented by Gutman Law, Wills, Trusts, and Probate, Maplewood Toyota, and Inver Grove Toyota. See some of the packages that'll be up for grabs at WCCOradio.com.
Hi, Denny Long here. Whenever I'm looking at doing some home improvements around our house, I only go to Linda's Construction, a single contractor for all your home improvement needs. And right now through the month of May, Lindus is offering 75% off installation labor on Infinity from Marvin Windows, GAF asphalt shingles, and Leaf Guard brand gutters right through the month of May. Call 844-9-LINDUS, LINDUS, or go down the web, lindusconstruction.com.
I really need funding to expand my inventory.
Swish Funding can help you expand inventory, upgrade equipment, and boost your cash flow.
Well, okay, but I need funding fast.
Swish Funding provides funding from $25,000 to $2 million with payment terms tailored to your needs and cash in your account in less than 24 hours.
So what's the catch?
No catch. If you've been in business for at least 1 year with monthly revenue of $50,000, you could qualify. Just go to swishfunding.com to apply. That's swishfunding.com.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Hi, it's Vanita, and we know how great the John Schuster Group is, but it's wonderful to hear from people who have benefited from that relationship. One of them is Ray from Minnetonka. Ray, thanks so much for joining us. Why did you choose the John Schuster Group?
At our first meeting with Tim and Abby Lehman, we clicked right away.
What was your experience like selling your home with the John Schuster Group?
It was incredibly simple. Our first day on the market, we got our first offer, and I was like, wow, we did get multiple offers, but we went with the first offer we got on Friday.
Okay, bottom line, why should every WCCO listener contact the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty, when it's time to move?
From the moment they walked into our home, we had nothing to worry about with them. We're just beyond our expectations. We just can't thank them enough.
952-222-9000 online, johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. JohnSchusterGroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-296-1251. 800-296-1251. That's 800-296-1251. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
Why'd I go to the doctor? My heart would race just taking my son to practice. It didn't feel right. So I got checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is Traffic and Weather Together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Shop in store online. Good to find the crash still working north 100 near 57th Avenue off to the right side. And the slowdowns continues to make way toward the wreck. Traveling 494 northbound, that's slow. Bass Lake Road into the Fish Lake Interchange. 10 westbound jamming up at Hanson. 694 got your slowdowns in place both directions between 252 and Lexington. Shop organics at Whole Foods Market. Get 20% off no antibiotics ever. Organic, air-chilled, boneless, skinless chicken breast with Prime through May 20th. Welcome to warm weather by flame broiling this premium protein over the grill. While supplies last, shop in store online. Terms apply. Terry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCL.
Clogged gutters? Call the pros. Advantage Home Pros. With the highest quality workmanship and materials. Seamless gutter installation, cleaning, and covers. Our trained, knowledgeable local pros can handle it all. Trust the pros. AdvantageHomePros.com.
Now the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Advantage Home Pros. Experience the advantage at AdvantageHomePros.com. Brings us Chris Schaefer.
The rain showers are going to continue into the night tonight as well as during the day tomorrow. At least the wind will start to die down. Still chilly, though. A high of 49 tomorrow. Nice recovery Thursday, partly cloudy with a high of 63. We should stay dry heading into Memorial Weekend and slowly warming. We could hit 70 by Sunday.
Still raining throughout much of Minnesota. That's why the Twins game has been postponed till tomorrow. Right now, with the rain in downtown Minneapolis, we are looking at 45 degrees. Feels like 33. Cover your plants on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSHA.
Off the charts in terms of talent and skill and star power.
DeRUSHA on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Original Sin is the name of Jake Tapper's book, along with Alex Thompson. Two of them wrote about the decline of President Joe Biden. The cover-up is what really gets me. Chris Cillizza has read the book. He is an independent storyteller, political analyst on Substack, and joins us often here on Drive Time. Chris, good to visit with you.
Hey, my friend.
How bad is it? The Biden. Yeah.
It's bad. I mean, look, I mean, I had kind of gotten some early readouts from people who had seen it that, bad. So it's not like going into it, I thought like, oh, this will be a good book for Joe Biden. I don't think anybody thought that, but Jason, it's exactly what you said. Like, what's remarkable about the book is Biden, who's obviously the central figure of all of this, is kind of like a bit player. He's sort of a fuzzy presence in the book. Like, it reminded me of when you have an elderly parent or something, and it's like, hey, should we take the keys from dad? And your dad is just like standing there. You know what I mean? Like, he's not like consulted in any of this stuff. That kind of is how it felt a little bit. The people around him, which Jake and Alex refer to as the Politburo, this is a small group led by Joe Biden, and they are making a lot of the decisions here strategically and for the president when it comes to sort of like who he should talk to, who he shouldn't talk to. And, those people, to me, are the people who are to the extent there's a villain in the story, these are the villains of the story, which is like they are – it is very hard for me to believe that they are unaware, based on reading that book, they are unaware of his deterioration that was picking up speed starting in 2022 and going all the way through 2024. My cynical, but I think accurate, take on it is, look, they liked being close to presidential power and they didn't want to give it up. And they had convinced themselves he was the only guy who could beat Donald Trump because he's the only guy who had beaten Donald Trump. And they did everything that they could to present this image of him that, ultimately that image came crashing down on June 27th, that first debate. But it is a cover-up. I mean, let me just say that. Like, I should have said that at the top, Jason. This is from a staff level. This is an active cover-up. I don't think everyone in the White House knew how bad it was. I don't think everybody in the cabinet knew how bad it was, but that closest group to him definitely did.
Chris Cillizza is with us. He has read the book that has been the talk of Washington, Original Sin. He wrote about it on his Substack. So What? Chris Cillizza. You can search for that on Substack. So obviously the authors are getting a lot of criticism, and certainly this weekend with the news of the really tough and dire cancer diagnosis for Joe Biden. This is now, there are two lines where Democrats are really criticizing the authors, and I wonder your take on this. Sure. First is this idea that, this just isn't true. It's not true. You see some of that, like some of Biden's relatives have come out, even people who've spent time with him, with Joe Biden, and are like, it's exaggerated. It's not reality. This isn't the Joe Biden we saw. He was getting older, but he wasn't in the throes of dementia. He was just getting older. Is that a fair pushback or no?
So my view on this is, and I saw Naomi Biden, who I believe is his granddaughter, go out very publicly and say this is a fantasy. My thing about it is, it's very, let's say that I write a book about Jason DeRUSHA, and you come out and it's negative. And I mean, I can't even imagine what negative would be there about you.
Yeah.
But let's say I do that, and you come out and you say, this is all a fantasy, none of this is true. Okay, like, my view on all of this is, what specifically is inaccurate? Like, is there something in the book that you can say did not happen? Because it's not one incident, Jason, in this book. It's not 5 incidents. It's not 10 incidents. It's, I didn't count, but, it's 25, 30, 40, 50 incidents where he loses. And some of these, by the way, are some of these are not up for debate. Speaking of debates, if you watch the June 27th debate, I don't know how you could say, like, yes, that's definitely the person I want to be president for the next 4 years, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. The Robert Hur, the special counsel, the transcript and then the audio, which was obviously strategically released by the Trump White House, but nonetheless, it's out there. Joe Biden is a halting presence. Ideas are sort of out of his reach at times. So it's like, I just think it's such an easy critique to say, like, this doesn't paint an accurate portrait. Okay, well, what's wrong?
Right. No one's
Like
no one's got that.
specifically, and I'm not trying to be nitpicky here, but like tell me a thing that's in the book that you can prove to me is incorrect. If that's the case, I'm more than happy to accept that. And of course, I think at some point that does begin to undermine the books. We saw this with Michael Wolff, right? Who wrote the very famous Fire and Fury about Trump's first term. It was like some of the stuff was like provably false. Okay, well, if that's true, that's fine. But don't just tell me this isn't who I know. Okay, that's fine. But what's wrong with it? What specifically is wrong? And I don't see a lot of pushback, at least yet, that is saying there are things that are factually wrong.
The other line is the what about? What about Trump? What about Trump? Trump. Trump's losing his mind. What about Trump? Why are we worried about Joe Biden when Trump is which I find, I think you can tell in my tone of the question, that I find this preposterous and idiotic.
I think it's insulting, candidly, to like the average person's intelligence. We can walk and chew gum. People sometimes on my Substack or even on my YouTube channel, they'll be like, oh, okay, well, Biden might have been out of it, but what about Trump? I'm like, are you unaware of the content that I create? Like just don't look at today. Right. Go look at a week or a month. Like, I talk about Trump plenty.
Also, like, Trump is
can hold two
what
ideas in our head.
There's nothing about Trump that is any different from the guy who ran for office.
And that's what this is what I always say to people, because I saw, who was it? Oh, Lawrence O'Donnell, MSNBC. He, when Trump on the way back from the Gulf states over the weekend, he tweeted about, or whatever you called it, put on Truth Social. Has anyone noticed Taylor Swift isn't as popular anymore? I think it happened when I said she was no longer hot or whatever. And Lawrence O'Donnell was like, why aren't we talking about Donald Trump's mental state? I was like, dude, in 2012, Donald Trump was talking about Twilight and how Robert Pattinson shouldn't get back with Kristen Stewart because she dumped him like a dog. Like, this is, you can hate him. You could even think he's crazy, but there is absolutely no evidence that he's in decline. And he's kind of always been this guy. And I would say with Biden, I think we can debate when the decline began, physical and mental. There's some suggestion in the book that the death of Beau, his son, from brain cancer in 2015, sort of began the slower decline, but then in 2022 is when it really picked up the pace. We can debate it, but look, I covered Joe Biden for many, many years, including when he was older, like not when he was 30, right? When he was like 65, 70. The man who was on The View recently is significantly compromised from that guy. And I'm not a doctor. I don't know what's wrong with him. Maybe he's just aging quickly.
Right.
But there has been a change. And I think anyone who says there isn't is just got their partisan blinders on.
Chris Cillizza is with us. The other, and I do want to ask you about the cancer diagnosis because Dean Phillips has been outspoken, and Dean was one of the first, although not the first. Plenty of people were saying Joe Biden lost his fastball. Joe Biden is getting older. Dean Phillips was the first to say this is so severe. I'm trying to get somebody else to run. Nobody would run, so he ran.
I mean, can I just say one thing about Dean Phillips?
Yeah.
Dean Phillips, and I will tell you from the Washington perspective, you obviously know the Minnesota perspective on Dean Phillips better than me, but Dean Phillips was absolutely pilloried by the Washington Democratic establishment.
Minnesota too.
He was character assassinated. Yes. People, he's just trying to get attention.
Rich guy.
Right.
Same deal here.
Let's be honest. Dean Phillips was right.
Of course he was. Yeah.
Whether
absolutely.
He was, and I think you and I talked about this. I mean, of course, at some level, Dean Phillips was doing it because he was like, well, if I do this, I'll get some attention. Of course. They're politicians. I don't think they're entirely altruistic.
Right.
At the same time, he was right. And I think the Democratic establishment, from the Joe Biden campaign team on down to a lot of elected House members who badmouth Dean Phillips publicly and privately, they do owe him an apology, because not only was he right about Joe Biden's condition, he was right about the gamble that the Democratic Party was taking by nominating this guy. And I think that's how it played out. Sorry, I know.
No, you're right. And this,
Dean Phillips road.
To me, this is why this is important, because I'm getting texts already. Can we leave Joe Biden alone? He's not the president. It doesn't matter. No. It does matter.
It does matter.
Because
it absolutely 100% matters.
Yes. And the system that allowed
the President of the United States.
Yes. And the system that allowed this cover up to take place still exists today. So
100%.
that's why we have to analyze, how did this happen? Did the media fail? Did, are the checks and balances out of whack?
Yep.
Did he cover up the cancer? So,
I mean, I think
and how awful
given
is
what we know,
Yeah.
given what we know now, I don't think, people always say to me, like, why do you question everything Donald Trump says? And I said, well, because Donald Trump has a long record of lying. I mean, it's
Yes.
fact.
Yeah.
And, Joe Biden has there's a thing in the book in Original Sin about how they chose Beau Biden had already had surgery, had already had brain surgery, and they had a doctor come and say publicly he has a clean bill of health. He already had brain cancer. So there's a long history here of the Biden family not telling I don't even know if it's some of the truth about his health. So I think you have to be skeptical about the timing of all of this.
Yeah, I think so too. And also, we still are worried about what Trump is doing now. The text, does this matter more than what Trump is doing now? No, but the book is out today. That's
Right.
why we're
Well,
talking about it.
I always say to people, you know what the first three and most important letters of news are? New. So that's why we talk about things. Like, people were like, why are you talking about Joe Biden? I said, Joe Biden went on The View and BBC to preempt this book. That's why we're talking about it.
Yeah. And you should be concerned. You also should be concerned about Trump, but I'm concerned about all of it. I'll tell you that.
I think we can walk and chew gum.
Chris, appreciate it. I can't wait to read the book. Original Sin is the name of the book.
It's well worth reading. I highly recommend it. And just to be clear, I don't work at CNN anymore, and I've never worked at Axios, so I'm not promoting them. I'm just saying, for someone who is interested in what really happened, the book, it's even for people like us who followed it really closely, it's pretty eye-opening.
Chris, thank you. 350 back in a minute.
Drive Time with DeRUSHA is back after this on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, let's talk about insurance, because car insurance rates are going up big time. Home insurance as well. Because of that, you maybe are just so mad at the rates going up that you're not taking time to make sure that you're getting the best coverage at the best price. The Canopy Group, this is what they do. It's Jason DeRUSHA here for my friends at the Canopy Group. Look, the Canopy Group does all the work for you. If you go to thecanopygroup.com, they will compare your scenario with your zip code, your hometown, your cars, your family, your home and auto insurance, and they'll send it out to 16 different companies. 40 professionals out there doing the work for you because you don't have the time. Make sure you're getting the best price. Do not just accept it and be mad about it. Go to the Canopy Group. Thecanopygroup.com. You can get a quote just by clicking the red button at the top of the page, or you can call 800-967-3389.
Looking for the best way to travel? Jefferson Lines is your top choice for daily transportation. Now offering daily trips from Minneapolis VA Medical Center to St. Cloud VA Medical Center for as low as $11. With routes to every corner of Minnesota and thousands of destinations nationwide, Jefferson Lines makes travel easy and convenient. Enjoy free Wi-Fi, individual charging outlets, and reclining seats for a comfortable, connected ride. Hurry, seats are filling up fast. Book your next trip today at jeffersonlines.com.
I'm Emma Greed, and I've spent the last 20 years building, running, and investing in some incredible businesses. The more success I've had, the more people started coming to me with questions. How do you start a business? How do you raise money? How do I bounce back from failure? On my new podcast, Aspire with Emma Greed, I'll be answering these questions and more through weekly conversations with the smartest minds out there. Listen to and follow Aspire with Emma Greed, an Odyssey podcast, available now, wherever you get your podcasts.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-969-0686 and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-969-0686. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's bonus package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-969-0686 now to secure your $10 Gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-969-0686.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is Traffic and Weather Together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Crash has been cleared north 100 near 57th Ave. Still be sluggish though as you come up from County Road 81. 169 watching the slowdowns there both directions between Medicine Lake Road and Highway 62. Things a bit slow across the entire system with the wet roads out there. Make sure your headlights are on. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Now the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Rain everywhere. It's going to rain all night. Low of 42. Tomorrow, more rain. Hopefully, we'll get the Twins game in. High of 49. The average high is 71 degrees. Right now, it is 45 on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSHA.
Oh, so there's a little bit of a dark humor involved, too?
Oh, yeah, a lot of it, in fact.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
Well, we're giving away Twins tickets today. The Twins had to delay the delayed game. I mean, it's sort of an obvious decision. My sump pump has just been going like nuts today. I had to go outside to make sure. I'm like, this is draining, right? Twins ticket Tuesday. When you hear the sound of my basement sump pump, caller number 3, is that what we're going to play?
I mean, we'll play the Wind Twin sounder first, but if you want to do that afterwards, you can add that in. Like we do like Chad does and just add a bunch of stuff.
Caller number 3 gets a 4-pack of ticket for Saturday. Playing the Royals at 1. I'm not doing anything Saturday, so if you wanted to take me, it's up for conversation. Twins host the Royals Saturday. First 10,000 fans get a Royce Lewis City Connect bobblehead presented by Sheboygan. So go to twins.com/tickets if you want to buy it. But when you hear that sounder, be caller number 3. Should be good. I was in New York for a quick weekend, and something happened to me that I feel I'm going to be made fun of for the rest of my life.
I can't wait to hear the story.
It was so bad, it ended with me trying to present someone with a handful of cash.
Wow.
Not great. Not great. We'll tell you that after we update you on CBS and local news. It is a rainy Tuesday on Drive Time.
In my opinion, they are simply the best. Who am I talking about? Aquarius Home Services. How do you track them down? AquariusHomeservices.com. I've had Aquarius at my homes for 30 plus years. I want the best quality water. I want it for multiple reasons. Number one, safety. I want that drinking water system. Get rid of those chemicals and it tastes great. And how about the water softener? The best. Track them down. Tell me the spot from Chad. AquariusHomeservices.com.
For 50 years, Newgate School has been serving the Twin Cities community by providing automotive training for young adults, job placement, and support for single mothers with reliable cars. That calls for a celebration. Join us August 2nd for an epic car show, food trucks, live music, awards, and activities for the whole family. Celebrate 50 years of Newgate and a world of difference. Visit newgateschool.org
for details.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Anytime is tune-up time at Apollo Heating, Air, and Plumbing. For only $59 gets your AC ready for the summer heat. Just visit us at callapollo.com. That's callapollo.com.
Minnesota's #1 for the latest breaking news. News Talk 830 WCCO 1029 KMNB HD2 Minneapolis, St. Paul.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Cammie McCormick. President Trump has announced what he calls a Golden Dome missile defense program for the U.S., putting U.S. weapons in space for the first time.
The Golden Dome will be capable of intercepting missiles even if they are launched from other sides of the world, and even if they're launched from space.
Trump says he expects it to be operational by the time he leaves office. He was on Capitol Hill earlier, putting the pressure on Republicans to pass his budget plan. Torian Small reports.
President Trump called Republicans who would not vote for this bill fools. And he said that this was a huge campaign promise, and it almost falls on their shoulders if this fails.
There are new guidelines for who should get COVID shots. Alexander Tin reports.
The FDA has decided to continue approving updates to the COVID vaccines this fall and winter for seniors over 65 years old and other Americans with an underlying risk factor ranging from obesity to pregnancy. But it is also stepping up its requirements for approvals of shots for the rest of Americans and will require new randomized placebo-controlled trials.
There is more severe weather in the forecast, and it's already shaping up to be the second busiest tornado season ever. Parts of Mississippi were hard hit in March and are still waiting for federal disaster assistance.
We need federal help, and we need it desperately, and we need it now.
Nearly 20 tornadoes tore through the state. The cleanup has been delayed or even halted by a lack of money. The administration has said states should take the lead, but Nicole Scanga reports that's not always possible.
FEMA is considering sort of raising the threshold for when it gets involved in helping states to recover from these sort of federally declared disasters. But what we're seeing in Mississippi, if it's any indication of what's to come, states are not ready to do this alone in the way that FEMA 2.0 might force them to.
Israel says more aid was delivered to Gaza today. The UN says none has reached Palestinians. And as Israel escalates its military operations, Britain has had enough.
We repeat our demand to massively scale up humanitarian assistance into Gaza.
Prime Minister Keir Starmer, the UK has suspended free trade talks with Israel. Actor George Wendt has died. He played Norm Peterson on the series Cheers.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name.
Wendt was 76. He had a long career on Broadway and on TV, but he's best known for being Norm. He was nominated for 6 straight Emmy Awards. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrials finished the day 114 points lower. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive. Protect your auto, home, and business with Progressive and get 24/7 coverage. See if you can save at Progressive.com. That's Progressive.com.
Now from Minnesota's radio station, let's get you caught up with Minnesota's latest headlines and biggest stories on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Rain and 43 degrees at 4:03. Good afternoon. I'm Mark Fry. Governor Tim Walz has declared a peacetime emergency in response to the wildfires still burning in northern Minnesota, which will give wildland firefighters and emergency responders additional resources needed to address the ongoing threats from those fires. This all comes after St. Louis County commissioners today held an emergency meeting approving a state of local emergency and a state of local disaster declaration. St. Louis County Sheriff Gordon Ramsey talked during that meeting and commended all the efforts to come together over the last week.
For the scope of this disaster, everybody's talking and working well together. Frequently you hear about feuds and, this person's not getting along, and that just hasn't happened. And everybody's pulling the rope in the same direction.
The Munger Shaw fire, which is the smallest of the three, is now 95% contained. The Camp House fire is 59% contained, and the Jenkins fire is just 6% contained. Softball players from Maple Grove and Farmington High Schools have filed a lawsuit against Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison and the Minnesota State High School League over its policy allowing transgender athletes to compete in girls' sports. Suzanne Beecher with Alliance Defending Freedom is one of the attorneys representing the girls in the lawsuit.
Title IX is very clear in its protections for women and girls for providing female athletes with equal opportunities, so that policies like Minnesota's, which fail to protect girls in their sports and are leading to girls being displaced and defeated, we see that's a clear violation of Title IX, and so we're hopeful that the court will also recognize that.
Part of the lawsuit filed yesterday focuses on an unnamed metro area player who the plaintiffs allege was born male. In a statement, Ellison wrote, he believes it's wrong to single out a group of students already facing higher levels of bullying and harassment, and says that he'll defend the rights of all students to play sports with their friends and their peers. The Minnesota Timberwolves open the NBA Western Conference Finals tonight on the road against Oklahoma City. Head coach Chris Finch.
Right now, the team feels extremely focused, got unbelievable energy. You can tell the difference, I think, moving between the last series, like series one and the last series, and this one just feels very businesslike, which is what you want.
Tip-off set for 7:30 tonight, 6 p.m. tonight. It's the Minnesota Frost battling Ottawa in the Game 1 of the PWHL Finals. Minnesota won the Walter Cup last year. Game 1 and 2 are in Ottawa. Game 3 is set for Saturday at the X. Well, some call it stuff, others call it junk. Whatever it is, many of us know that heavy, overwhelming feeling of having too much of it. And this month's A Closer Look with Laura Oakes. Laura explores our tendency toward overconsumption, its environmental impact, and how businesses are making money off of it.
So what's behind all of this? Are we gluttonous Americans doing so well that we run out of room for all that we've purchased, either intentionally or mindlessly? It may seem so, judging by the gleaming 5-story glass-encased orange and white storage facilities dotting our cities and frontage roads these days. It also aligns with the boom in junk removal companies, who we pay to take stuff off of our hands when it gets overwhelming or has run its course. Sally Flank is Director of Marketing and Communications for Two Men and a Junk Truck. I met her on a job site in Hopkins.
People are busy, and a lot of the times they don't realize how much stuff is collecting, especially if they have extra space in their home that they don't live in as much.
And you can find Laura's full story at WCCOradio.com. It's 4:06, traffic and weather next.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is Traffic and Weather Together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Brought to you by Linda's Construction. Get your Leaf Guard brand gutters. LindasConstruction.com. 394 jammed up both directions as you make way between 100 and downtown Minneapolis. If you're traveling 169 or Medicine Lake Road, anywhere to a possible crash, it's already slow as you come up from Highway 62, and then 62 itself, it's kind of slow eastbound Ron Gleason over to Cedar. Get the Leaf Guard gutter system, guaranteed never to clog, custom fit for your home on site for a perfect seamless finish. Available in a variety of colors to complement your home's decor. Call Linda's Construction, 844-9-LINDAS, or lindasconstruction.com. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Remember and honor. Washburn-McCreevy Cemeteries will be hosting open houses, Memorial Weekend, and special Memorial Day services and addresses. Visit washburnmccreevy.com to plan your Memorial Day weekend events.
Now the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
And the weather is brought to you by Washburn McCreevy Funeral, Cremation, and Pre-Planning Services. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
The rain won't be as heavy, but it will still be present in our lives. Scattered showers tonight falling back to 42. The wind will finally start to back off. Rain showers more scattered in nature, fizzling out as the day wears on. Only a high of 49, not as windy, another benefit. Thursday, we get the sunshine back with a high of 63.
Thank you, Chris. Rain, 43 degrees. I'm Mark Fry, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Stories that matter. Information with impact. Discussion for understanding. News Talk 830 WCCO. No suit, no tie. Just DeRUSHA. It's drive time. Live from the WCCO studios, high atop the Odyssey Tower.
Ladies and gentlemen, please make some noise.
I'm super excited to introduce to you
Jason DeRUSHA.
I will be made fun of for the rest of my life for what happened on a New York City subway. It's Jason. Welcome to Drive Time. Hour 2 in effect. Timberwolves in the Western Conference Championships tonight. That's going to be fun. That's what I'm going to be doing. Watching some basketball. Wolves are in Oklahoma City. Tip at 7:30. We got Amy Hockert. Fox 9's Amy Hockert, the most lovably unhinged Timberwolves fan, certainly on social media. Amy will join us at 5:35 here on Drive Time to get us ready for the game. So I was in New York. We were doing all the New York things. I was there to pick up Seth from NYU. Dang it. Called him Sam. Alyssa called Seth Sam a couple times as well while we were in New York. And kids don't like that. Don't really care for that. So I'm in New York. And we go to get bagels. And so, that's great. Go to get bagels. It's all good. And I get a cup of coffee because it was early in the morning. And also because I like coffee. So I've got my everything bagel with jalapeno schmear on it. And I got my cup of coffee. And off we go to the subway. We get in the train. Get on the 6, walk down the stairs. Train shows up. Get in. Alyssa sits down. Seth sits down. I am walking to grab onto the pole. And as I walk, the train starts moving. I lurch forward. I squeeze the coffee cup. The lid pops up. The coffee goes everywhere, including on a woman and her dress sitting to my right. Coffee flying all over the place. My question to you is, what would you do in this moment? 651-461-9226. What do you do when you spill coffee on somebody else? Hot coffee, but not like McDonald's lawsuit hot coffee. Of course, what I wanted to do was cry. Cry for it being embarrassing. Cry for the fact that I got coffee. Now, it's not all over this woman's dress. So picture a woman seated in a sundress. And so there's a little bit of coffee, not a little bit, it's only a little 12-ounce cup, but it was let's say 2 ounces of coffee. That'll leave a stain, right? And a little bit on her legs. So Alyssa comes to me. Now picture this scene. Alyssa comes to me with napkins because Alyssa's a mom. Of course, she required a large handful of napkins. So she brings me some napkins. There's a police officer stationed in the subway train, which, by the way, in New York, cops everywhere. It was wonderful. So there are police everywhere. So the police officer says, "Give me the coffee cup. I'll hold the coffee cup." So she takes the coffee from me. She's being incredibly nice. And so what I do is I apologize like crazy. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And then I ask, "Are you okay?" And she says, "I'm not okay." And then you're not in Minnesota. At that moment, you're not in Minnesota. As a texter said, if I'm in Minneapolis, what I do is I apologize and apologize and apologize. If I'm in NYC, I get off at the next stop and run. So I apologize multiple times. I say, are you okay? After I've given her some napkins, you know, I can't like wipe someone. You know, what are you supposed to do? So I give her napkins. She dries it off. She says, I am not okay. She's like, I'm going to have to go back. I'm going to have to change my clothes. I'm going to have to dry clean this. I don't know if I'll be able to, it's a whole thing. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And the cop says to me, it's okay. Accidents happen. The police officer is trying to make me feel better. I am a 50-year-old man, and the police officer in that scenario was like, it's all right, buddy. Like, you know, don't let this woman steamroll you. It's all right. So her friends are all like trying to help her clean up. Should I do?
Should you offer enough for her to go buy a coffee, or should you offer enough to replace the dress?
And like, it was fortunate that I had some cash on me. And as one of our texters said, this is why I keep a emergency $100 in my pocket, in my wallet. I already had to break the emergency 100 on that trip to tip the bellman when they bring in your bag.
Yeah.
So I had cash, thankfully. So I offered her a $20 bill. I just went up with a folded up 20 and said, I'm still sorry, but take this. And she did not. She didn't take the money, which I have to say, like, I wish she took the money, because if she took the money, then I'm sort of off the hook, right? Like, then I'm sort of off the hook. But she didn't take the money. And I believe she didn't take the money because she wanted me to sit and suffer. Isn't that the power move? I spilled on you. I give you $20. I try to give you $20, but if you accept it, you also are allowing me to wash my hands of the scenario. She did the truly brilliant and evil thing which is to not allow me to have closure on the scenario. Michael's in Minneapolis. Was $20 enough, Michael? Should I have offered more?
I think he followed it to the letter of a kind and normal human being, but what is normal these days? So I myself travel in some tight quarters, transportation sometimes, and I mean, you handled it like a gentleman. The cop behaved normally back to you, and as soon as the woman made the comment of "I'm not okay with enunciating that," it sounded like, or were you embellishing that?
No, that's what it sounded like. Yes. There is a lot of judgment in the "I'm not okay." Yeah.
Yeah. So I think she kind of turned the script to "we're not going to behave normal here" and accident, and then you could have then maybe said, well, besides you were concerned maybe she was burned, are you okay? What can I do for you? And let's leave it on them. And then if she still sounds like she gave you an attitude, but I think
that's pretty good, Michael.
It's perfect.
I wish I had done that. Good call. Thank you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for that would have been a good move. What could I do? What can I do? And just leave it at that. A texter asks another good question that I'm going to answer after the break. How long after did you ride together? Oh, because the awkwardness of this does get worse. Because I'll tell you where we were headed and how that ties into that. And really the longest telling of a story of someone spilling a cup of coffee in radio history. That when we come back on CCO.
We need a quick pit stop. Then Jason DeRUSHA continues on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, let's talk about pork and how delicious it is and how as the weather gets a little warmer, we get into the celebration season. Man, this is the best time of year for Minnesota pork. It's Jason DeRUSHA here, and I want you to make Minnesota pork a part of your family's everyday life. Bacon is just the beginning when it comes to pork. Right now, we're in the thick of barbecue season. Actually, if you pick up this month's Minnesota Monthly, on the cover, I have a whole guide to barbecue in Minnesota. I've been having fun at home with my smoker, double smoking ham, doing some ribs. For a quick dinner for me and my family, it's pork tenderloin. You season it how you like. Often your grocery store, your butcher shop will have it already marinated, ready to go for you. 20 minutes in the oven, you're good to go. Pork is so versatile, so delicious. There is just something about it that works, enough protein to get you going, lean enough to keep you feeling great. 3,000 family farmers all over Minnesota making sure they're taking care of their pigs, their people, and our planet from the soil to the sky. So taste what pork can do. Get the grocery store, butcher shop. Let's do it. Let's have Minnesota pork for dinner tonight. Oh, yeah.
Get your home into the comfort zone with Metro Heating and Cooling.
Get in touch with Metro Heating and Cooling for a $99 air conditioner tune-up. Find out more at metroheating.com.
Hey, it's Vandita. The easy way to do something isn't always the smart way to do it. When you're selling your home, you might think that one of those instant cash offers is always the way to go. Most of them are for nowhere close to what your home is worth. You are much better off calling my friend, the good neighbor agent, John Schuster of the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty. They just helped Doug sell his home. He was moving out of state, wanted to sell his home fast. He reached out to 5 of those cash offer investors to make instant offers. He decided to call John, though, and see if he could get more money. John assured him that he could, and he did. John sold his home for $75,000 more than the highest instant offer Doug received. It paid off. Contact John for full details. 952-222-9000 online, johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. JohnSchusterGroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you, and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Not available in all states. Rates vary. Building a financial safety net for your family can be tough. But with term life insurance through Ethos, you can have peace of mind that they can pay the mortgage and other bills if something happens to you. With coverage in as little as 10 minutes, all online, Ethos finds your best rate across our multiple trusted carriers. Some policies as low as $1 a day billed monthly. And even in uncertain times, your term life insurance rates and payout don't change. Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life.
Jason DeRUSHA.
Like if this was 20 years ago, I think this would be a great show. But in today, this is awfully dirty and feels a little disgusting, if I may add that.
On News Talk 830, WCCO.
Make sure you subscribe to the DeRUSHA Eats podcast. In-depth interviews with chefs, with farmers, with restaurateurs. Just search DeRUSHA Eats. Those in-depth interviews and our conversations about food here on the air. DeRUSHA Eats, brought to you by the Minnesota Pork Board and Surdyk's Liquor and Cheese Shop. So how long did I ride on the subway with, the victim of my idioticness? Let's be clear. Should I have brought a cup of coffee in a reusable cup on the subway? No. Rookie, stupid mistake. About 5 more stops together. We're on the subway because we were going to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. We're going to the Met. And I'm looking at this woman and her 2 friends, and as I'm sitting down alone, because my family is trying to pretend that they don't know me, I'm thinking...
Although, to be fair, that's par for the course,
Par for
right?
the course, yeah, that's our standard public transportation seating arrangement. So I'm sitting there thinking, this woman's going to the Met, right? Like, she's wearing a dress. Oh, she could have been going anywhere, New York City, whatever. But
right, but in your
just
mind, in that circumstance.
Yeah, I'm building it up.
Yeah.
No, she was freaking going to the Met.
Of course.
She gets off at 77th Street. The spill happened down at 33rd. So we spent... So I keep watching, right? I'm like, well, we can get off at 77th or we can get off at 86th and backtrack down to the museum. I'm like, we're getting off at 77. And sure enough, she gets up at 77. And so what I do, because I'm a man of courage, is I get off the train and then I stop. And I just wait for 5 minutes to let her get a good head start. Because I didn't want to run into this woman in line or at the museum or whatever.
I'd have gone to 86. I'd have just sat right back down.
I thought about it. I maybe we'll go one more. Yep. No.
I'd have ducked and covered.
Texters, Jason, $20 is absolutely enough. Another texter, Jason, $20 is nowhere near enough, especially in NYC. 50 or 100 is the amount. Another texter. Now, come on. If you spill coffee on someone in the subway, is this the same as getting in a car accident? Where I should pay for the repairs? I would.
Well, you're not trading insurance cards here, but it is New York City.
Right. I don't know. $20. Do you dry clean everything? I don't know. $20 felt like it would clean the dress. I don't know. I have no
clue
idea.
What the prices would be in New York City.
$20, says another texter, is an insult. A slap in the face to the injury I've already caused. I should have offered more money. 40 or 50, says a texter.
I wouldn't be shocked if
I
she
don't know.
took it that way. Would you?
As an insult? No, I think she was trying to get to the forgiveness phase. where it was like, don't worry about it.
Okay.
But she didn't say don't worry about it.
No.
It was just a no.
So maybe she was trying to get to the forgiveness phase, but
she wasn't
was
there.
still upset.
That's what I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Texter Jason, I would try to get you to spill coffee on my blouse for $20. Yeah. I mean, you're. Now, Texter's asking approximately how old this woman was.
That's a fair question.
And I would say probably my age, like adult, not like a young adult, not like an old lady. I would say, and by old lady, I'm meaning 80 plus, just to be clear.
Aggressively middle-aged, is that?
Yeah, I'd say maybe a skosh older than me, but like in the ballpark.
Okay.
Couldn't I have done a commercial for somebody and get her dress cleaned for free? That's fair too.
It's an excellent point.
At least I didn't wipe the coffee off her, and that certainly would have pissed off my wife.
That would have been creepy on several levels, yeah.
But you do have that sort of dad instinct to try to let me just. So you have this in your mind, and then you're stopping yourself.
Yeah.
You're like, I've got the napkins. And then another random person on the subway came and brought me more napkins. I will say this, like,
Wow.
People look at New York and you're like, they're all, no, like the cop was nice.
Sure.
Another rando. I think everyone felt bad for me. And of course, for the person.
I was going to say they might feel a little bit worse for her than for you.
I don't know. Who do you feel worse for in that scenario?
I'd rather be the person spilling the coffee than having the coffee spilled on me. I would think that's
yeah,
pretty
I
standard.
do think, like, to be clear, I think her and someone was like, you got the way to make yourself the victim by calling her evil for not taking my money. I would encourage people to remember that we do joke around on this show. And sometimes I say stuff thinking that, like, you might get a chuckle out of it. That's all. If I were her, like, I would be mad. I would be mad. Also, like,
But you would be very Minnesota, and
Yes.
you would say, "No, it's okay. Everything's fine. No, don't worry about it. It's all right." And
Yeah.
the whole time, the thought process is
right. But I would have for sure. Now, the texter says the funny part is right now she's doing a radio show in New York asking, what would you do if someone spilled coffee on your dress?
Let me tell you about this idiot on the subway.
And he only offered me $20. Give me a call at 212. That's pretty good. Another texter, a more experienced radio professional, would have gotten contact info so my producer could arrange an on-air follow. You guys are the best. 4:31, we'll break. We'll be back with Joe Tamburino. Lots of legal issues to talk about, including a rethinking of the prosecutions of the officers of the George Floyd case. Could there be, for the Derek Chauvin case of the death of George Floyd, could there be a pardon? What are some of the other issues around this? We'll talk about it with Joe in just a minute.
Don't touch that dial. More Drive Time with DeRUSHA coming up on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, let's talk about the ultimate in menswear and the greatest people, too, at J.H. and Sons at the Galleria in Edina. It's Jason here for this terrific family, the Halberstadt family that has been making men look great for 5 decades. Started in St. Cloud. Now they're in Sioux Falls. They're in Omaha. They're in Edina at the Galleria. They dress me for special occasions and for date night. It is contemporary. It is top-notch. It's the best brands. It's the best people. It, for me, is a throwback to the day when you walk into a store and they take care of you. You get great service. And that, I don't know about you, but I need help when it comes to finding the suit that's perfect, finding especially suits aren't that hard for me. It's the casual wear where you're like, I don't know, man, like what should I do? Go talk to Kevin, go talk to Dean, go talk to Bryce, because J.H. and Sons will take care of you. Family owned, customer service. I'm telling you, you will experience it next level. Sign up for their email list at jhandsons.com. And in fact, Sunday at the Galleria, they're having a men's clothing event. So make a plan this weekend to go out, say hi, and visit J.H. and Sons.
And if you're on public transportation and some ding dong spills coffee on you, that's a great place to go to get a replacement.
Get a replacement.
Yeah, there you
That's
go.
right.
When you call News Talk 830 WCCO, you're not just another voice.
I did want to point out one important thing.
You're part of the conversation.
Anything for striking the size of government.
Your take.
Is solving a problem that does not exist.
Your platform.
I'm sorry, Jason. You don't know that for sure.
Pick up the phone.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Take the mic.
I mean, it's unbelievable that people would defend that.
I hope they have some time to think about it.
Where Minnesota comes to talk. News Talk 830 WCCO.
Do you know what the scariest sound to hear on a factory floor is? Silence. That means something somewhere broke. Production has stopped, and now you're paying your workers to wait while the team troubleshoots and tries to fix the problem. Finally, there's a proactive way to reduce equipment downtime, thanks to MaintainX. MaintainX is the asset management system that brings your maintenance downtime to zero. MaintainX lets you build preventative maintenance schedules, manage work orders in real time, and access the data you need to make better decisions. Downtime equals death in the production world, so make unplanned downtime a thing of the past. Try MaintainX for free. Control the daily operations of your business and transform your maintenance program by going to maintainx.com. That's maintain in the letter X.com.
It's Jason DeRUSHA here for Window Nation. We've already had a taste of rising temperatures. Beat the real heat with Window Nation's semi-annual sale. Buy 4 windows, get 4 windows free, and a free entry door when you purchase a whole house full. Plus, no money down, no interest, and no monthly payments until 2027. That is a whole lot of savings. Tell them Jason DeRUSHA sent you. You're doubling your windows. Buy 4, get 4 free at 866-90 or visit windownation.com.
We sell more, that's why we sell for less.
It's the Play Before You Pay truckload sales event at Miller Marine and Power Lodge, Minnesota's marine and power sports superstore. For a limited time, get 90 days with no payments plus truckload price savings passed on to you direct from the factory. So hitch up a new 23-foot Tri-Tune with 150 horsepower starting at just $39,999 or just $299. Angling for more hot deals? We've got fishing boats for every budget starting at only $19,990. Ignite your summer with 0 payments while you throttle up your new Bennington, Premier, Lund, Ranger, Alumacraft, Sea-Doo, Polaris, Can-Am, or CF Moto. With 5 locations in Ramsey, Brainerd, Onamia, St. Cloud, and South Rapids, we sell more, so you ride for less. But don't wait. Play before you pay and launch your adventure at Miller Marine and Power Lodge.
Miller Marine, Miller Marine, Miller Marine. We sell more, that's why we sell for less at Miller Marine.
Heading out for the weekend? Lucky you.
Don't forget to stop at Thieler Meats of Pierce for some melt-in-your-mouth moments.
High quality beef.
Fresh and smoked sausages and brats.
Home smoked bacon.
All natural chicken.
A great selection of fish and seafood.
Visit us at thielermeats.com.
We've got the cuts that'll make your meal.
Call to order ahead and pick up on your way to the lake.
You'll be the hit of the party.
No meals complete without Thieler Meats of Pierce.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is Traffic and Weather Together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
South 100 as you make way toward Highway 62. Crash working, right lane affected. Things are jammed up as you come down from 394. Traveling along 494 northbound, that's heavy. Rockford Road heading up into the Fish Lake Interchange. 10 westbound slowing as you move past Egret. Heading up into the area of Round Lake Boulevard. East 94 near the area of Dale Street, possible crash. Things are already tight as you come in from Hamlin Avenue. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Have you seen the wind or hail affect your home? Honest Exteriors offers thorough inspections and can be your advocate with those tricky insurance companies. From the first raindrop to the final nail, Honest Exteriors is with you. Local pros, honest work. HonestExteriors.com.
Now the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
All right, let's get an update on the weather from our chief meteorologist, Chris Schaefer.
The rain showers are going to continue into the night tonight as well as during the day tomorrow. At least the wind will start to die down. Still chilly, though. A high of 49 tomorrow. Nice recovery Thursday, partly cloudy with a high of 63. We should stay dry heading into Memorial Weekend and slowly warming. We could hit 70 by Sunday.
Honest Exteriors bringing us the weather forecast. It is still raining, although it's not like going crazy like it was before. It's chilly, 45 degrees on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSHA.
Yeah, the word that comes to mind a lot, especially through social, but also through listeners, is humorless.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
Well, this week you are going to be seeing a lot of revisiting, a lot of analysis as we hit 5 years. Man, I can't believe it's been 5 years since we all woke up on Memorial Day 2020 and saw that video. That video is still the Darnella Fraser's video is still, I think, in most people's mind, the indelible image of a police officer sitting on George Floyd, kneeling. And that image has in many ways, and that trial has changed Minnesota, has changed discussions about policing for good and for bad. And we thought it would be worthwhile to have Joe Tamburino in. Joe and I spent just about every day together during the trial of Derek Chauvin, which is why, and I want to start with this, Joe. Joe's a criminal defense attorney, legal analyst. On TV, I always had to say not involved in the George Floyd case and Derek Chauvin case. There's been such a shift, and time changes people's memories. But there has been a shift, which I find interesting, especially police officers, I think, at the time were very much against Derek Chauvin. And today, 5 years later, I don't know if politics affects it or if there's resentment in the way that officers have been treated in that time. But I find a lot more officer openness to defending Derek Chauvin, which, man, you remember 5 years ago, it was hard to find anyone willing to really defend. And we saw all the evidence, which I think a lot of the internet commenters today are not. But are you surprised that there's been such a sort of refashioning of the way people think about this?
Well, thanks for having me on, Jason. No, I'm not surprised for this one reason, which is that the Chauvin trial happened so quickly, such close proximity to the murder, to Mr. Floyd's death. I mean, that was on a rocket docket. We talked about it too when the trial happened. I mean, the judge at the time, Judge Cahill, denied any type of change of venue and denied all the continuances. It literally is almost unheard of to have such a trial of that magnitude happen within basically 10 months of the incident. So, because of how almost rushed it was, now that you have 5 years looking on it, of course, you're going to get varying opinions. Yeah. I mean, I think it would have been a different trial if the venue was changed or if, you gave it a couple of years. Most murder cases in Hennepin County especially, they don't go to trial for a good 2 years.
So that this was so fast, obviously emotions around it. I mean, you have to bear in mind that trial was going on at the same time in Brooklyn Center. Another man was killed at the hand of a police officer. Whether you want to say it was certainly an accident, whether it rose to the level of negligence, I don't know, but shouldn't have happened. Shouldn't have happened. So
that happened.
You had all that going on at the same time as this trial.
At the same time as the trial, and you also had that the trial was still happening within the COVID time period, because as you know, there was social distancing of all the jurors. Everybody had to wear masks. It was just a different period of time. So, yeah, I'm not surprised.
Have your views changed at all?
No, I mean, I still think Mr. Chauvin was guilty of the manslaughter. I never thought he was guilty of the second-degree murder, only because there was some legal issues with that. But of the manslaughter, yes, no, my views haven't changed with that.
Joe Tamburino with us. I think, it's interesting because I analyze my own views, and my views on this haven't changed either, that I do think I was at the time surprised that the other officers who were on the scene were charged so aggressively. And I remain, I do think they were, well, some of them pled guilty, which I wonder if they wish they could have taken that back and had a trial. But I do think that especially the two new officers.
Right.
I I don't think justice was served by those prosecutions. Now, I do think they probably were technically guilty of the charges, but this is where prosecutor kind of discretion comes into play. And some of my thoughts about, I wish we had a better way to handle incidents involving police in our legal system, because we try to wedge them into other statutes that are meant for people who are actual criminals.
Right. And, and I agree with part of that, which is that, the other officers, I thought, looking back on it, especially, should not have been charged. And you can tell that, the state, after they charged them, obviously didn't put a lot of stock into the charges because they gave them pretty good deals. Yeah. I mean, they said, okay, at the end of the day, even though your co-defendant got 22 and a half years, we're going to give you all 3 years. And that always tells you something from the prosecution side when a prosecutor who's already obtained a conviction for the co-defendant and he's getting more than 20 years says to the other co-defendants, well, even though before I said this is all very serious and we're going to go for the max that we can, we're going to offer you 3 years. So, that's always a telltale sign that something's going on.
Joe Tamburino is with us. There is a new Supreme Court ruling that talks about excessive force, which is very relevant to this, and really a lot of the national cases that capture everyone's attention. What can you tell us about that new ruling?
Well, the new case basically says this, that when a police officer is going to use specifically deadly force, it can't just be the immediate threat. You have to look at the totality of circumstances. So it clarifies that. But what it does also say is it says that the officer at the time can look back on the history of the person that they're dealing with. So if all of a sudden an officer sees someone on the street that the officer believes he's had run-ins before, he's fought with me before, I know this guy fights with the police, I know this guy is high most of the time, he could use that in his factoring as to when to use force. Yes. So that new
Which
case,
makes sense, because that's how an officer would be analyzing a situation.
Sure.
There's no evidence in the Chauvin Floyd case that that was
relevant. There's no evidence whatsoever in that.
But sure makes sense to me, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, when an officer approaches someone and who's acting say in a criminal manner, and the officer's already had some type of run-ins with him before, of course it gets factored into it with the totality of circumstances.
I want to ask you what would happen if there is a pardon. There's been so much conversation about this. There's also been no real evidence that this is coming. But if Donald Trump, the president, should pardon Derek Chauvin, which he could be well within his right to do it, man, I think it'd be unfortunate. Light this place, you want to reignite, sort of take us back to where we were 5 years ago. I think that might have the potential for that. But if he did that, Derek Chauvin's not getting out of jail.
No, it's not going to affect much. Right now, Chauvin is in custody with the federal authorities till 2037 approximately. And if the president pardoned him, he would still be in custody with the state authorities till 2035. So you would shave basically 2 years off of his sentence. I don't know why the president would pardon him, especially right now, because Chauvin still has 2 motions before the federal court. In federal court, he pled guilty. Right. And he got his, 23 years there. But right now he has 2 active motions. One is he's saying vacate my plea of guilty because I had ineffective assistance of counsel for a number of reasons. And the second motion he has, which actually he's been winning so far, is we want to re-examine certain physical pieces of evidence of Mr. Floyd. And the government, the U.S. Attorney's Office, has objected to that. But so far, the federal court in St. Paul has said yes. The defense can examine that. So his case is technically still active in the federal system.
Yeah. So why would you?
I don't see the reason for it.
Stand by. I know you have some thoughts on the Diddy trial. I want to get to that.
Sure.
And lots of texts coming in. If you guys have questions for Joe Tamburino that you want to raise, go ahead. Fire it up. 651-461-9226. Drive time coming back in just a minute.
Drive time with DeRUSHA is hitting the off-ramp for a quick stop on News Talk 830 WCCO.
I would not want to be on my own trying to sell a house quickly right now. It's Jason here for my friend Chris Lindahl at Chris Lindahl Real Estate and the Guaranteed Cash Offer. Right now, if we know anything about the housing market, the economy, we know it is uncertain. Interest rates one day are up, next day they're down. And what that means, when you're on the open market selling your home, you are subject to the whims of the buyer. Are they going to freak out at the end? Are the rates going to go up? Are they going to be able to get their financing? What's the inspection going to do? There are times in life where you need to move quickly and you need the cash. Guaranteed cash offer is the best way to get to the finish line. It's a guarantee. In a time of uncertainty, this is certain. And this is why Chris Lindahl told me the other day that he is doing more guaranteed cash offers over the last 30 days than he has done in years, because people like the results. They're getting a good deal and they're getting it done. That's the key. You pick the closing date. You pick your moving date too. That's powerful. That's part of the Chris Lindahl difference. Go to the website, find out how much your home is really worth. chrislindahl.com. Get that guaranteed offer and start packing. Terms and conditions may apply.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
New month, new flavors. Jordana here for my friends at Mini Leaf. I'm talking about those Sleep Night gummies. I know you love them, and they even have a new and improved Sleep Night gummy. But here's a twist. They got some new flavors. So, better sleep and some yummy new flavors. Great grape, green apple snooze, and mellow mango in the nighttime blend. And of course, everybody loves the peaceful pineapple. That still exists in those Sleep Night gummies. Better sleep is the way to a better you. Mini Leaf can make that happen. I give these out to friends all the time. I recommend them for anybody who's having sleep troubles. You guys know they help me get off my Ambien, really. These gummies helped me get off a pharmaceutical. I hope they will do wonders for you. Here's how you get them. Minileaf.com. MINNELEAF.com.
Mini Leaf means quality. Taste happy at minileaf.com.
The home of Minnesota's best legal products.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
We asked parents to share their journey of adopting teens.
They changed who I am because I can't see life without them in it.
Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is Traffic and Weather Together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Good to find a crash causing problems for you on Highway 100 southbound as you approach Highway 62. Right lane is closed. The crews have also shut down the ramp south 100 to Crosstown westbound, so keep that in mind if you're headed that way. Slowdowns continue to come down from 394 northbound to Gawker. Slowdowns you come up from 66th Street. Traffic on the Crosstown, that's going to be a slow ride as you make way between 169 heading over to Cedar Avenue. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Clogged gutters? Call the pros. Advantage Home Pros. With the highest quality workmanship and materials. Seamless gutter installation, cleaning, and covers. Our trained, knowledgeable local pros can handle it all. Trust the pros. AdvantageHomePros.com.
Now the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Advantage Home Pros bringing us the weather forecast. Rain showers continue tonight. 42 is the low. Cold. Tomorrow, we only get up to 49 rain showers, but they should be fading by midday. Thursday, back to 63, getting closer to normal, and it's a dry Memorial weekend. Right now, it's 45 in Minneapolis on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRUSHA. Video streaming live on YouTube and always on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO.
So when I was in New York, I did go by the federal court where they had it all barricaded off for the massive throngs of media, the courthouse all locked down because of the trial of Sean Diddy Combs. You've been watching this as much as you can, right?
As much as you can. Yeah.
Joe Tamburino is our guest today. You know, these federal cases are not, there's no televised, there's no audio. It's just old-fashioned note-taking, right?
That's right. And that's basically because of the late Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia. He despised cameras in the courtroom. And the way the system is set up, I don't even know if within our lifetime they'll have cameras in the federal courthouse. But if you were going to, you'd want to be on this case. There is no doubt about that.
Oh, my goodness. The drama here and the celebrity aspect, but
Right.
it obviously just disturbing and salacious and horrifying. And does he have a lane in here to kind of get away with this?
It's very small. So basically what he's arguing is this. He's saying, I'm not a great guy. I'm an abuser. I've done this, I've done that, but I'm not operating a RICO type of situation. And here's what the government has to prove. They have to prove that basically his enterprise was a criminal enterprise, that he did at least 2 predicate acts, it's called, of RICO acts that cross state lines. What are those? Those are things like human trafficking, prostitution, extortion, drugs, whatever it is. And in most, 99% of RICO cases, it involves a conspiracy. He's not charged with a co-conspirator. Now, the government can show that he worked in concert with others without those others having been charged, but it's a tougher road to go down. So I think the evidence against him is, for the most part, extremely strong. But the prosecutor at some point in this trial has to get the RICO aspect in to show that, look, he was doing a criminal enterprise so he could bring in prostitutes, bring in strippers, bring in drugs, whatever it is, cross state lines. And that's why it's all under RICO, the Racketeering Influence Corruption Organization.
Being a pervert and being a swinger is not a crime.
No. Just being that is not. Well, it depends how you define
how you
pervert,
do it, I guess.
right?
Yeah,
I
but-
mean, if obviously you're using prostitutes,
Underage.
children underage, of course,
Yeah.
yes, you're going to violate a whole host of laws.
But
just being,
it's all consensual.
right. That's right. Now,
I'm not trying to
testimony-
defend this.
Right.
I mean, this is pretty disgusting. And there's a ton of evidence to indicate that there was, that he was threatening people,
Yes.
that they were being kept silent, all of this. So,
Well, and what this gets down to is this: it's that fine line when you have celebrity or people in power, where they can pressure someone without saying, "Do this or I'll kill you. Do this or I'll do something like that." It's almost implied, the coercion. Now, Cassie testified very well against Combs. I mean, she was a powerful witness. But what the defense is going to keep arguing is, look, no matter what he did, he never put a gun to anybody's head.
Kid Cudi testified. I mean, this is the A-list of the A-list. All of these people who are part of some of this stuff. Crazy.
Yeah. And that, and other people are going to be coming out of the woodwork. I mean, we hear all these things about
Yeah.
Justin Bieber. I have no idea if he's going to be a witness in the trial or not. But there's, such a trail behind Diddy Combs, such a trail.
Joe, we're out of time. We appreciate it. We'll have you back soon. 5 years. So much has changed since that moment. The murder, and I do call it a murder. He was found guilty of murder.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I know people don't like that. He didn't murder her. Huh? There's a try. Murder that's what it is. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
CBS News coming up. We will have the latest on this lawsuit. High school softball players filing lawsuit against the state for allowing a trans player.
Hey, Jordana, I'm Brian. I'm 58 and single. I have a house, a bunch of investments. I have a sister I'm close to, but no kids or anything tying me down. So I never really worried about planning for the future. Recently, a friend of mine passed away unexpectedly without a will or a trust, and it created a huge mess for the family he left behind. I don't want to be a burden on my sister. I want to be prepared. So why should I choose Gutman Law?
Hi, Brian. Your instincts are correct. If you were to do nothing, the state would decide who's in charge and how to distribute your assets, which is probably not what you want. And your sister will have a lot to sort out by herself. Now, this is the reason why I chose Gutman Law. My family, Matt and Jamie, were so sensitive to the nuances of my situation after a divorce. An estate plan is more than just names and numbers on a piece of paper. It's family. Making it easy on them is what matters most. From healthcare directives to wills to living trusts, Gutman Law can help you determine what type of planning makes sense to protect you and your loved ones. 612-895-1616 or go to gutmanlaw.com. Gutman Law, giving you peace of mind today for tomorrow.
I really need funding to expand my inventory.
Swish Funding can help you expand inventory, upgrade equipment, and boost your cash flow.
Well, okay, but I need funding fast.
Swish Funding provides funding from $25,000 to $2 million with payment terms tailored to your needs and cash in your account in less than 24 hours.
So what's the catch?
No catch. If you've been in business for at least 1 year with monthly revenue of $50,000, you could qualify. Just go to swishfunding.com to apply. That's swishfunding.com.
The success you've already had matters at University of Maryland Global Campus because we're a school for real life. An accredited state university, UMGC lets you earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning, life, and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. We offer affordable tuition and online and hybrid courses. No application fee if you apply by May 30th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
News Talk 830 WCCO KMNB HD2 Minneapolis, St. Paul.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Katmy McCormick. There is more severe weather in the forecast in what is already shaping up to be the second busiest tornado season ever. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear.
We need everybody to be weather aware. We need everybody to have a place to go tonight, preferably that has a basement.
Meteorologist David Parkinson.
It is another night of tornadoes in the nation's midsection. This is night 7 in a row of a tornado threat. And this one has a little bit of deja vu for folks in Kentucky. We're at a 3 out of 5 on the severe weather index tonight for tornadoes.
Mississippi is still waiting for federal assistance after tornadoes in March.
I know President Trump said that America first, we're going to help our American folks first, but we haven't seen the federal folks down here.
CBS's Nicole Skanga.
Folks right now in the state of Mississippi have been, pausing their debris removal. They've not been able to go through with some of the rebuilding in that state because they simply don't know whether the federal dollars will be there.
President Trump announced the concept for what he calls a Golden Dome missile defense program for the U.S.
Hypersonic missiles, ballistic missiles, and advanced cruise missiles, all of them will be knocked out of the air. We will truly be completing the job that President Reagan started 40 years ago, forever ending the missile threat to the American homeland, and the success rate is very close to 100%.
Erica Brown reports the president was on Capitol Hill earlier pushing his budget plan.
President Trump emerged from a meeting with House Republicans sounding optimistic about the passage of his budget bill.
I think we have unbelievable unity. I think we're going to get everything we want.
The legislation makes permanent the tax cuts passed during his first term and includes a campaign promise to eliminate taxes on tips and overtime pay. It also increases spending on defense and border security.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio was also on Capitol Hill, and he defended Trump's decision to lift sanctions on Syria's new government.
Frankly, the transitional authority, given the challenges they're facing, are maybe weeks, not many months, away from potential collapse and a full-scale civil war of epic proportions, basically the country splitting up.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth today ordered a Pentagon review of the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan. He says a special panel will examine previous investigations and will analyze the decision-making to ensure there is accountability. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Now from Minnesota's radio station, let's get you caught up with Minnesota's latest headlines and biggest stories on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Rain and 44 degrees at 5:03. Good evening. I'm Mark Fry. A new report on police reform in Minneapolis is offering up some fresh insight on the department's progress in the 5 years after the killing of George Floyd.
It's the second report from Effective Law Enforcement for All, the city's independent monitor, and it's a mixed bag of breakthroughs and lingering homework for the department. One of those areas of improvement included some lack of buy-in from some of the rank and file regarding a wave of new policy changes. But Chief O'Hara says it's normal for officers to be skeptical during a major transition time.
While we continue to ask them to do more and more, there's a whole lot of uncertainty with the reform process as we go forward. I think from a cop's perspective, they are worried about what does this mean for me?
Some of the positive progress noted in the report included things like eliminating backlogs of police misconduct complaints and improved working conditions for officers. Outside City Hall, I'm Taylor Rivera, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Several metro area high school softball players are suing Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison and the State High School League over a policy allowing transgender athletes to compete in girls' sports. In a lawsuit filed yesterday, the female student athletes from Maple Grove and Farmington High Schools cited an unsafe environment and unfair competition due to an unnamed metro area player competing in softball who they allege was born male. Suzanne Beecher with Alliance Defending Freedom is one of the attorneys representing the student athletes and says the policy is a clear Title IX violation.
We know that males enjoy biological and physiological advantages over women. So by allowing males to compete in girls' sports, it's taking away that level playing field for girls, which violates federal law. It goes against Title IX. So we're challenging that policy to try to protect women and girls in Minnesota.
In a statement, Keith Ellison writes that he'll defend the right of all students to play sports with their friends and their peers. Despite rain pouring across much of the state today, the northern part of the state seeing red flag warnings due to the extreme fire conditions. In an emergency meeting this morning, the St. Louis County Board of Commissioners approved a state of local emergency and state of local disaster declaration due to those fires that have burned just over 30,000 acres. St. Louis County Sheriff Gordon Ramsey.
The significance of these really can't be understated. I believe these will go down as some of the most historic fires in not only in our county, but also in the state.
Governor Tim Walz this afternoon declared a peacetime emergency in response to those fires. NFL owners are gathering at the Vikings headquarters today and tomorrow for one of their regular meetings. One of the items on the agenda is eliminating the tush push. That's the play where the ball carriers push from behind to gain short yardage. Purple Insider's Matthew Collar can't imagine the team owners getting rid of that play.
There's only one team that actually uses it a lot, and that's Philadelphia. It seems like these teams just want them to stop dominating with their play, and I don't see anything that is illegal about it. It's just a QB sneak where someone pushes somebody.
And NFL owners passed a resolution today allowing league players to participate in flag football during the 2028 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles.
How about play a little harder?
Yeah.
You know, stop sucking. Try to stop the tush push.
You're a professional athlete.
Come on. Bunch of babies. Well, they should ban it. It's just pushing someone. Figure out a way to stop it.
You should ask Steve Simpson about this topic.
Oh, God.
Eagles
yes,
fans.
Eagles fans.
5:06, traffic and weather next.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is Traffic and Weather Together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Brought to you by Treasure Island Resort and Casino. Got the crash working yet, South 100 near Highway 62. Everything's moved off to the right shoulder. The ramp, the westbound crosstown has been reopened and the right lane reopened, but it is still a bit of a slow ride as you come down from 394. Traveling South 169, expect a jam up there, Medicine Lake Road, all the way down to Bren Road. If you're traveling West 94, got your slowdowns placed past 169 up to 610. Bachman Turner Overdrive is heading to Treasure Island with friends, the Marshall Tucker Band, and special guests, Jefferson Starship. Jam to Taking Care of Business. You ain't seen nothing yet. Heard it in the Love Song and other rock classics live at the Treasure Island Amphitheater Saturday, July 19th. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
In its centennial year, the DAV of Minnesota remains dedicated to helping thousands of veterans access the benefits they've earned. And you can make a difference. Volunteer to transport veterans, advocate for improved programs, or donate today at davmn.org.
Now the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
And the weather is brought to you by DAV of Minnesota. Here is WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
The rain won't be as heavy, but it will still be present in our lives. Scattered showers tonight falling back to 42. The wind will finally start to back off. Rain showers more scattered in nature, fizzling out as the day wears on. Only a high of 49, not as windy, another benefit. Thursday, we get the sunshine back with a high of 63.
Rain in 44 at News Talk 830 WCCO.
I stream, you stream, we all stream.
Gotta download the Odyssey app for sure.
News Talk 830 WCCO. No suit, no tie, just DeRUSHA. It's drive time. Live from the WCCO studios, high atop the Odyssey Tower.
You're watching the cool, brainwashing 12-year-old and younger station that hides behind a slick image. We're so cool that we decide what's cool. And now, here's your host,
Jason DeRUSHA.
All right, it is a rainy Tuesday. We're up to maybe 3 inches of rain and much of the Twin Cities. Your lawn should be looking good. Welcome to Drive Time. It's Jason. Hour 3, Dan is here. Mark Fry is here. And let's pick up on a story that Mark had in the news for the DeRUSH Hour lead.
Now, time to get you caught up on some of the biggest stories of the day. These are the DeRUSH Hour headlines.
Good evening. Our top story.
This just in.
Our top story.
We begin tonight.
We begin tonight.
We begin tonight.
We begin with the lead.
And we start with 3 Twin Cities area softball players who are suing the Attorney General as part of an effort to remove transgender athletes from softball. All of this because there is one player that plaintiffs allege was born male. A player who is a pitcher and is blowing away the other competitors in the league. I have shared my position on people who are transgender and when it comes to sports. In my view, when you make a choice to get medical intervention and change the way you were born, you give up the chance to compete in a gendered sport. That's the trade-off. The lawsuit is against the Attorney General, but I can't help but feel for this high schooler. Over the next day and weeks, this story will continue, as it already has been, news around the nation, around the world. And a lot of people are going to use this story as people use every story to make their point, to dunk on somebody else, to show how better they are, or on either side of this issue. But the truth is, there is a young high school girl who is trying to play a game that she loves and is trying to go to class and be a family member. And I feel for her. I do. Because as you make your point, as you make your social media post, as you dunk on somebody else, there is a human being in the middle of this. We don't know all of the details about this Twin Cities area athlete's journey. And frankly, should we? I don't know. Do I like the Minnesota Athletic League's policy? I do not. Do I think that this policy of allowing athletes to play in whatever sport that they identify with is a good policy? I do not. Do I have love and concern for the person in the middle of this? I do. I do. Basketball on the agenda here in the Twin Cities. Tonight, the Timberwolves begin their run to the Western Conference Championship. In just about 15 minutes, we'll have an extended interview with my favorite online Timberwolves fan, Amy Hockert from Fox 9. Amy is out of her mind with her fandom. Amy and I also talk a little bit about the Minnesota Lynx, because with all of the playoff excitement, the Lynx are ready to get things going as well. The home opener is tomorrow night, and our friend Carly Knox, the president of business operations for the Minnesota Lynx is with us on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline to talk about that opener. Carly, it's good to have you with us.
Hey, good evening. How's everyone doing?
You know what? We're fired up about hoops in this town, which I think is always good for the Lynx as well, right? When you have the Lynx rocking, as we've had a real nice start to the season, and you got the Wolves still in it. I don't know if you're a hoops lover, you're living the dream right now.
It's incredible. We always say these are high-class problems, the stresses of crossing over the two teams when, we're in playoffs and the Wolves start and vice versa. And so exciting times for Minnesota basketball. We couldn't be happier for our brother team and vice versa. So wonderful times. So hopefully as fans, we come out and support each team and cheer both teams on to a championship.
So far, the Lynx have easily handled the Dallas Wings and the LA Sparks, and it's the Wings again here tomorrow. And what's the situation like? What's the ticket sales like? What are we looking for tomorrow night?
Yeah, absolutely. Already sold out in the lower level and well into the upper level, but obviously it's everyone's first opportunity to come out and cheer on the Minnesota Lynx, who took it to Game 5 of the WNBA Finals, and such a special team that we have, and also wonderful to welcome Paige Beckers back to Minnesota. And it's going to be rocking it there tomorrow night and a lot of fun, so we're excited.
Carly, I think that people are being too nice to Paige Beckers, and I'm like, she is on our opponent's team. We had a city name themselves Paige Beckers here. I feel like I'm the only person outraged about this, but I'm not interested. I'm not interested. Good, Paige, you had a great run. I'm glad you were one of us, but Texas can have you now. I'm done with her.
Oh my goodness. Well, listen. Much respect. Paige and Caitlin, their favorite WNBA teams in history were the Minnesota Lynx. So they grew up on the Lynx and our dynasty and, our historic runs with that team and fell in love with the WNBA through the Minnesota Lynx. So there's plenty of love to go around. So
what I'm hearing, Carly,
hold on, but hopefully welcome her with a big L tomorrow.
There we go. Because what I'm hearing from you is that would there even be a Paige or a Clark if it wasn't Becker's Clark, if it wasn't for the Lynx? Maybe no.
I mean, I don't think the Lynx can take all the credit, but we can certainly talk about the inspiring women that we had on the team during that time and how phenomenal they were. And you talk about Simone Augustus and Maya Moore and Sylvia Fowles and Lindsay Whalen and Rebecca Brunson. I mean, these are some of the greatest players to ever do it. And, as referenced by Women's Basketball Hall of Fame and Naismith Hall of Fame, we got Maya and Sil going in this year. And June 14th, we're honoring Simone Augustus for her induction into both Hall of Fames last year. And I think people forget how historic that team was and how many people they inspired. And so, are we the reason they're in the W now? Certainly can't take all the credit for that.
I'll give you the credit for it.
Inspired them.
How about a little more love for our own team? All right, I'm cheering for Nafisa Collier. All right, that's what I'm saying.
Absolutely,
we're happy.
That's what I love about you.
All right, Carly, we hope you pack it in tomorrow night. We appreciate you spending some time with us. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. Go Lynx and go Wolves.
All right. Good stuff. Carly Knox from the Minnesota Lynx, the head of business operations. Get your tickets for tomorrow. One more story in the lead for us. And our third item brings us to a guy that all you have to do is yell out his name and you know what we're talking about. Norm!
Afternoon, everybody. Norm! How you doing, Norm? What do you know? Not enough. Afternoon, everybody. Norm!
Norman?
Do you know? I heard of that stuff. Better give me a tall one in case I like it. Afternoon, everybody. Hey,
Norman?
How you doing, Norm? Cut the small talk and give me a beer. Hey, Norm!
George Wendt died today. He was 76, a Chicago native. Da Bears, you know that Chicago accent. Did you know he was the uncle of Jason Sudeikis? George Wendt, 76 years old. Jason Sudeikis was Ted Lasso. and still is Ted Lasso. He's alive and well. But one of the iconic TV characters of all time.
Sudeikis, also a one-time SNL cast member, and was part of Da Bear's schedule or sketch.
Sketch.
So family tradition then.
Pretty cool. That is the lead. Page 2 continues in just a minute. We're going to talk about some of the best golf courses of America right here in our backyard, and a local angle on the new Pope that involves a movie theater in Roseville when we come back.
More Drive Time with DeRUSHA is on the way following these messages on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Right now, if you're looking out your windows, you're seeing raindrops. What you might be seeing is an opportunity to upgrade your home. It's Jason DeRUSHA here for Window Nation. May is the month where we have seen all of the weather. Hot temperature, cold nights, rain. Beat the heat that's coming this summer with Window Nation's semi-annual sale. Here is what we're doing for you. Buy 4 windows, get 4 windows free. And if you do your whole house, you get a free entry door. No money down, no interest, no monthly payments until 2027. Window Nation's windows are built to keep your house cool when the summer days get hot. They are among the best energy efficient windows out there, and they frequently outperform and outlast even the expensive ones. For the expensive guys, they assemble their windows right here in the USA. Let's go. Have Window Nation come to your home, give you a free estimate. Tell them Jason sent you. You are doubling your windows. You buy 4, you get 4 free. This is a tremendous deal, but this sale ends soon, so do not wait to get that estimate at 866-90-NATION. Buy 4, get 4 at windownation.com.
You know that feeling when you're about to cut into a juicy steak and hope it tastes as perfect as it looks? Well, worry no more. The Chef IQ Sense is a wireless cooking thermometer that eliminates under or overcooking your chicken, fish, or meat, whether on the stove, top, oven, or grill. The probe is inserted into your food and connected wirelessly to an app. Once you select your desired doneness, the app alerts you when to take the steaks off the grill or the turkey out of the oven. It's that simple. Order one now on chefiq.com. That's chefiq.com.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Get a head start on value and selection. Summer starts here at Inver Grove Toyota. For a limited time, find low 60-month financing options on a variety of 2025 Tacomas and Tundra trucks. But hurry in, it's your best chance yet to save. Visit InverGroveToyota.com for all the details. The summer savings have started at Inver Grove Toyota. InverGroveToyota.com.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-969-0686 and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-969-0686. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-969-0686 now to secure your $10 Gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-969-0686.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSHA
This is potentially the most important discovery in the entire history of mankind.
I agree.
on News Talk 830 WCCO.
DeRUSH Hour News headlines, page 2, and we begin with the news that several of the best golf courses, because everyone's lawn is going to look like a golf course after all of this rain, but a lot of the best golf courses in America are in our backyard. Wow. From the tee right into the cup that fast. That's amazing.
It's pretty good.
It's a heck of a shot. Bring me the news with the write-up from Golf Digest. Now, Minnesota only have one course in the top 100 courses in America. Wisconsin had 4. So our top course is Interlochen Country Club in Edina, number 64. Golf Digest wrote about Interlochen Country Club the way I wrote about my high school girlfriend. Interlochen's edginess is back, with ominous, strategically arranged bunkers guarding greens and fairway lines, and the expanded putting services presenting a range of come-and-get-me hole locations that haven't been seen in ages.
Hey, now.
Ouch. My gosh. That explained why Fabio was on the cover of this. 5 courses in Wisconsin that made the top 100. Milwaukee Country Club in River Hills. Sand Valley. Oh, Sand Valley is so cool. Number 69. Erin Hills Golf Course in Hartford at 49. And Whistling Straits in Sheboygan at number 29. So what about what about the Quarry? What about the Wilderness? What about Hazeltine? What about the Classic? Hazeltine only one to crack the second 100 greatest. We're getting a little ripped off, I would say. What do I know? Well, honestly, what do I know about anything, but specifically about golf? I'm not your guy. Local angle on the new Pope, and this is a real local angle because the Pope was here and he went to a movie theater in Roseville.
Oh, yeah? Well, me and the Lord, we got an understanding. We're on a mission from God.
Pioneer Press talking about the summer of 1980. Now he's Pope Leo XIV. At that time, he is Bob Prevost. Went to see the Blues Brothers. A mission from God. Goes with a Lutheran friend. This sounds like the setup to a joke. So a priest and a Lutheran go to a movie theater in Roseville. The Roseville Four, it's now gone. They ate at the Black Forest Inn. Do we believe this story from the Reverend John Snyder? Do you know John Snyder, Lutheran?
I don't, but
senior pastor
I'm
at
not
St.
sure-
Stephen's Lutheran Church in
I'm
West
not
St.
sure I
Paul.
care for the tone with which you're impugning his honor.
I'm just saying what I did in the summer of 1980. Well, who can forget? Me and Bob Prevost. Just a little bit. It's just an excessive amount of detail in this story. It's like, although who am I to criticize, as I did a full half hour about spilling coffee on someone in the subway.
Although technically that was just this weekend. This was many years ago. But yeah, no, I absolutely believe this.
All right.
Because everybody's coming out of the woodwork with these stories, right? It's the first time we've ever had an American Pope. So, the White Sox got video of him at the World
But
Series.
they were in their early 20s.
Yeah.
Prevost is, a Catholic in the Augustinian order. Snyder is at Luther Seminary in the Evangelical Lutheran Church. So they're at this clinical pastoral education group at Abbott Northwestern Hospital. So you're learning how to be a chaplain kind of deal. Huh? Sounds like a hell of a weekend.
That's right.
He actually had photos. Well, I shouldn't say a hell of a week. But
Too late.
Seems like it's probably true. This other part I thought was amazing. So, if you know a guy who gets a vote on the Pope, like, do you send him a text? Like, pick a good one. I don't know. Like, what do you say? It's so weird to think like you knew a guy.
Yeah.
And you still know him to the degree that you could send him a note. So, according to this story in the Pioneer Press, he reached out to his old friend about a week before the conclave, wishing him well as a voting member of the College of Cardinals.
You just let him know you're keeping him in your prayers.
And he responds, "Love to you and Polly. Thanks for your friendship through the years.
Very kind.
It's all in God's hands. Blessings, Bob." So crazy.
How many times do you think he's screwed up the signature and started to go to Bob and then, oh, no, it's Leo now. I got to do Leo.
I'm telling you, he's signing all his checks. Bob Prevost is like, hey, the bank won't even. That's page 2 of the DeRUSHA Hour news headline. Let's leave it at that. That's enough. I think once you're making check writing jokes about the new Pope,
you're pretty much done.
That's when it's time to hit the button and say, in a minute, Amy Hockert, finally a respectable journalist on this show. Amy Hockert joins us to get us ready for the Timberwolves tonight. Because if you only know Amy Hockert as the buttoned up, type A focused news anchor on Fox 9, you do not know the unhinged, ridiculous Timberwolf fan that shows up on social media. We'll ask Amy what's going on with all of that when we come back.
Jason DeRusha and Drive Time needs to make a brief pit stop on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Hey, it's Vanita. If your kids have moved out and you have more space in your home than you need, you've probably thought about downsizing and moving somewhere that would require less maintenance. Wouldn't that be nice? If you want to buy a new home, selling the one you're living in now is probably how you would afford it. You need to work with my friend, the good neighbor agent, John Schuster of the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty. Catherine decided to hire the Schuster Group. John's experience and responsiveness really stood out to her. She hired them, and John made the process as quick and easy as possible. That meant 4 offers in 4 days and an offer for thousands over asking price. It made buying her next home much easier. Catherine's happy that she hired John Schuster. Contact John for full details, 952-222-9000, online, johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving, johnschustergroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
When a tree crashes onto your roof, it's not just damage, it's chaos. Or it doesn't have to stay that way. Call Brian Job of Job Brothers Construction. As a local, family-owned business based in Minnetonka, Job Brothers offers same-day emergency service across the Twin Cities. From the moment disaster hits to the final shingle nailed down, Brian and his team handle it all, start to finish. They'll work directly with your insurance companies. You don't have to play middleman or worry about what's covered and what's not. They take care of everything: roofing, siding, windows, gutters, and they do it with the kind of care you'd expect from a neighbor, not just a contractor. It's why so many Minnesotans trust them after the storm is past. Don't wait. Schedule your no-obligation full inspection now at JobBrothersConstruction.com. That's J-O-B-E, Job Brothers Construction. They get the job done right.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-525-9369. 800-525-9369. 800-525-9369.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you, and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Now is the perfect time to start on your next success. An accredited state university, University of Maryland Global Campus offers online and hybrid courses. Plus, you can earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. No application fee if you apply by May 30th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is Traffic and Weather Together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Brought to you by Miller Marine of St. Cloud, world's largest Bennington dealer. Scratch and dent sales going on now. Highway 100 slowing in both directions between basically Highway 55 and Highway 62. Crosstown eastbound jammed up. Gleason heading out across the Minnesota River Bridge as make way toward 35E. North 35E slowing right through St. Paul as make way along 94 heading up to Highway 36. It's a factory scratch and dent sale, or scratch and dent truckload sale, exclusively at Miller Marine. For limited time only, get fishing boats starting at $105 a month, pontoons starting as low as $243 a month. Shop world's largest Bennington dealer, over 100 boats inside. You can shop in 70-degree comfort and largest showroom in Minnesota. Miller Marine of St. Cloud, we buy more, so we sell for less. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
If you have trees to trim or need tree removal, call an ISA certified arborist. Call the CCO Line Company I use, B&M Tree Service, 1-800-569-9034, or get on the web, bnmtree.com.
Now the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
All right, let's do it. B&M Tree Service bringing us the weather forecast. It is Twins Ticket Tuesday, by the way. I haven't heard the sounder yet, so don't call now, but caller 3 is going to win a 4-pack of tickets to a game on Saturday, 1:10 start against Kansas City, I believe. Here is Chris Schaefer.
The rain showers are going to continue into the night tonight as well as during the day tomorrow. At least the wind will start to die down. Still chilly, though. A high of 49 tomorrow. Nice recovery Thursday, partly cloudy with a high of 63. We should stay dry heading into Memorial Weekend and slowly warming. We could hit 70 by Sunday.
Looks like the rain is settling down a bit, but it's still raining. 45 on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSHA.
I think this is just all a bunch of hubbubaloo and a waste of time.
You're not wrong.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
What time is it?
Timberwolves in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals 2 years in a row. Your Minnesota Timberwolves, I know we're not used to this sort of playoff success, but give Chris Finch, give Anthony Edwards, give the team their flowers. And part of the fun for me is being with other crazy fans on social media. And my favorite follow when it comes to the Timberwolves is the longtime, terrific news anchor and journalist at Fox 9, Amy Hockert, who is Amy is with us on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline. I would describe you as a ridiculous, unhinged, unabashed fan, but especially ridiculous.
Ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, it's like 20 plus years of being a news anchor and reading teleprompters your whole career, and then somebody gives you an opportunity to just say what you really think, and you just get unhinged and you just go for it. And that's what it feels like right now, because I don't cover sports. I can say whatever I want about sports. Like Jim Rich can't do that. Nobody on our team can do that who's covering sports. But I get this pass, and it is the most fun thing ever. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what you do, I think, is you channel like the same energy that we have in just like that any fan has, right? I mean, is that sort of the reaction you get from Timberwolves Nation?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. But I think, and I don't think anything I say is like that great or funny, but I think because it comes out of somebody who you don't maybe expect to be unhinged like that, like that's what makes it kind of entertaining to people. I don't know, but honestly, I don't.
Come on now.
I'm not like I'm not.
This
I'm not
morning,
a funny
you
person, I
write
swear.
you're not a funny person. Give me a break. This
I am
morning,
not.
you don't think of yourself as funny?
No, Jason, I've lived with myself my entire life. I am not funny. I am the biggest stick in the mud. I am the fun killer in my house. Like I run a really tight ship. Like this, honestly, at work, I'm just intense and type A, and ask anybody, like that is who I am. But when it comes to sports, especially Minnesota sports, it just runs so deep. And like a lot of people, I grew up, my grandma got me started on the Timberwolves back in '89, my watching Vikings with my dad when I was younger growing up. Like these are my favorite core memories. And so because it's so deep, it's like it just taps into like another place in my heart and in my brain. And you just embrace it. And I don't know, you're so deep in it, all the sort of inside jokes and I remember the first time I heard Wally the Beer Man knew who I was, and I was like, "Wait, are you serious?" Like, I felt like I'd made it. That's the kind of thing that you just I don't know. It's just everything for me that is sweet and like nostalgic revolves around Minnesota sports.
Amy Hockert is with us from Fox 9. There is something about that, right? Being the news anchor. And like you said, you are intense. You are focused on journalism, focused on doing a great job. You just are. Like I've known you for a long time. But so when I open up X and see, no, you're the psycho who's wide awake at 4 a.m. because of basketball. It's way funnier than if that were coming from someone who was a comedian. You know what I mean?
I'm telling you, there is literally nothing special about what I'm saying or doing or feeling. But I think it's just that kind of shock factor for people, especially in this market, because, news anchors are sort of, it's not like LA where they're like, yeah, I don't have time for you because here's, this A-list celebrity. Like around here, people really sort of, they care about their news anchors, and they, maybe not as much anymore, but, I don't know. I just feel like people are like, what is going on? And they maybe tune in to see what I'm going to say next. And, is she going to get fired? Like, will she walk into work one day and her bosses are like, that's it, lady, you just went off the deep end. I mean, you just don't know where it's going to go, but it is genuine. It is so genuine. And I'm not a big cursor. In fact, I went most of my adult life without, if you ask anybody, like I really didn't swear a whole lot. And then just recently in the last year or so, I feel like you reach a certain age and then your kids get to be a certain age and you're like, screw it. Let's just be who we are. And so I try to keep it clean as much as possible, but with a little nod to a naughty word here and there.
You called for the OKC matchup. You said that you didn't think you could mentally handle a Westbrook Braun Murray series. Yeah. So beat the best to be the best, baby. How do you feel about game one tonight?
Can I be honest with you? I'm terrified. I am terrified to my core. And I almost feel like, and this is the most Minnesota sports thing ever, but I almost feel like I have to say out loud, like, it's probably going to be OKC in 5. Like, I just feel like I need to put that in the universe just to check that box.
That now you have officially established your Minnesota sports fan bona fide. You have to I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to over-expect. I mean, they are the number 1 seed, and they are a tremendous basketball team. They just are.
Yeah.
But we're pretty good. We're pretty good.
I know we are. We are. It's just the consistency is what scares me. The lack of consistency from this team. And I love them. And I from all accounts, I get a lot of my information from Jim Peterson, who's one of the great broadcasters and former player and coach for the Lynx. And just, he knows so much and he's around them so much. And he told me 3 or 4 months ago, before anybody else saw it, he's like, this team is better than last year's team. He said, Chris Finch is the best coach we've ever had in this organization. He said, I've never seen a group so tight-knit, like behind the scenes to off the court. They really, really care. So when you put all those things together and it just feels different, you can't help but get excited. And but again, like that other shoe is just right there, Jason. It's just ready to drop at all times. And I don't know if we'll ever be able to shake that.
I do think, Amy, that as sports fans in Minnesota, it's difficult to get your arms around the fact that there are now expectations, right? Like last year with the Timberwolves, it was an improbable run to the Western Conference Finals. And this year, it looked like things were going to crap at the beginning, right? I mean, the chemistry wasn't there. Figuring out the Randall mix. We all loved Cat personally, so to lose Cat was tough. But do you look at it now and think like, maybe there's going to have to be a psychology adjustment, especially among those of us who are Timberwolves fans, because 2 Western Conference Finals in a row is validation. It's not a fluke. It's a program that's set up to win, and now we should expect them to win.
Just even you saying those words is making like the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Like I can't hear it because it won't sink in. It just won't. It just slides right off. But I hear you, and I think we have to probably get there. I think maybe 6 or 7 more seasons like this, and we'll probably start to feel that way. But right now,
maybe
new.
We'll still be waiting. We'll still be waiting.
Yeah, there's no roadmap for this, Jason. There's no roadmap. Like this is crazy. Last year, you're right, fluky, kind of like, whoa, we fell into it. This year, we kind of fell into it again because, like you said, the season just didn't look like it was going to be promising. And then all of a sudden, like playoff Timberwolves basketball, like what the heck? It's all over the place. It's all over the place. Yeah, they played great, but they've also played like absolute crap in the playoffs. So that's where I'm just like, I just the buy-in for me is really, really hard, 100%. Ant's been super spotty. Like I just. It's just part of being a fan.
It is part of being a fan. Amy Hockert is with us from Fox 9. Do you have this same intensity for all of the teams? I mean, this is a safe space. I know as a news anchor, you feel like if you favor one sport more than others, like the hockey fans will come for. But I would say the hockey fans, how about win a series and get back to me? You know what I mean?
I definitely, so the nostalgic sort of sentimental piece for me is the Wolves for my grandma, who's 99 years old, and still I drive 3 hours to watch games with her whenever I can. I'm going to try to watch these 2 this weekend with her. 99, so lives on her own. So she got me started in Wolves basketball, and she loves it so much. And then again, my dad with the Vikings, and just that being my favorite memory growing up was just watching the games with him. Those are the 2 that are closest to my heart. But I follow those the closest. But I will say I'm definitely I cheer for any Minnesota team, the Gophers or whomever. But I definitely like the Wild, for instance, as they were making this push. I was watching all the games. You get into it, but I'm more of a casual fan that's just really supportive. So I have a lot of respect for those who are hardcore. But Vikings and Wolves got to be my team. And the Lynx. Oh my gosh, I've fallen in love with these Lynx. I got to be honest. Like I'm just obsessed.
I feel you because I feel like a poser with the hockey crowd, right? Like I love it. Right? I get on board, but like I don't know the game. Basketball, like, I mean, compared to the real people who know the game, I don't know the game. But compared to a casual fan, like I think you and I know basketball because we love it. There's something about the pace. There's something about the individual players, right? What is it that besides the nostalgia that draws you to this Wolves team this year?
Well, I feel very lucky because I get to talk to people like Jim Peterson, right? I get to I get kind of rolled into all the little press conferences afterwards, and I listen to all that stuff. And so I think the more you invest in them, and I just do it naturally because of my job, because I need to talk about it on the air. But the more you do that, the more it just feeds on itself. So I would say just the people. I mean, we don't really have any villains on this team. We don't have anybody. I know not everybody loves Ant, but I just feel like all the pieces are in place and they're so accessible. You get to see the looks on their faces, their body language, everything, other than like football or hockey where you just don't get that same sort of interface with an actual, human being. It's all equipment. So I don't know. It's just kind of a different level with basketball.
Any predictions for tonight?
I
love the nervousness. I feel it too. I think we're all nervous.
I mean, I know, like, I want to say we're going to win. I do. I love this team so much, but I think it's okay to be a diehard fan and also be like, I don't know. I hope they come out, but I don't know. I mean, it's going to be hard. I can't even say, honestly. I just have to hope for the best.
Amy, I'm going to be cheering for the Wolves, but I'm also going to be worried about you. I just want you to know I'm going to be thinking about you as I watch the game tonight from home. I'm very worried about your well-being.
Well, can I tell you, you should be, because I just told you before I hopped on this call, I was in the doctor's appointment and I was in there for an extra 20 minutes because they had to take my blood pressure 3 different times, like with the machine where it's like takes 5 minutes before it even does anything.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, let's just try it one more time before you go. I'm like, nope, it's still high. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. And I have no history of high blood pressure, if that tells you anything.
It's straight up Timberwolves related high blood pressure.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, there's no medication for that. There isn't.
No.
All right.
Well, a title,
A title would help.
Will
A title would help.
really help.
Good stuff. Well, everybody should follow you on Twitter at Amy Hockert, and they should watch you on Fox 9 and on the streaming service as well, where you hang out most of the day. Amy, so good to have you with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Let's go Wolves.
Don't touch that dial. More Drive Time with DeRUSHA coming up on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jason here from my friends at Tureen Dermatology. This is May, and May is Skin Cancer Awareness Month. And for me, that means remembering to get that yearly skin checkup at Tureen Dermatology. The full body skin checkup is your key way to early detect a skin cancer that could be trouble. 1 in 5 of us will develop skin cancer by the age of 70. It's very, very common. My dad has had a number of cancerous growths removed. So has my wife's dad. So both of us get extra attention when we visit Dr. Mohiba Tureen at Tureen Dermatology. Melanoma is what we're really on the lookout for, right? And I know so many CCO listeners have gone to Tureen Dermatology, which I'm so grateful that you trust me and trust Dr. Tureen and her awesome, awesome team. But I know a lot of our listeners have had skin cancer that's been caught early thanks to going for that full body skin checkup. If you catch it early, melanoma has a 99% survival rate. 9 locations for Tureen Dermatology. There's one near you. Find out and make your first appointment. You can do it online, TAREEN, TureenDermatology.com.
We're gonna win, we're gonna score.
Thielen Meats of Piers is where tradition meets taste.
Family grown, employee owned. We've mastered the art of meat.
That's why we're the #1 meat market in Minnesota.
And we're located right here in Piers.
Check out our mouthwatering selection at thielenmeats.com.
Better yet, stop in and see for yourself. We're serving up love one cut at a time.
Thielen Meats, from our family to your feast.
No meals complete without Thielen Meats
of Piers.
Advantage Seamless Gutters is now Advantage Home Pros. New look, same pros. Still locally owned and now taking care of all your gutter and roofing needs. Spring cleanup is just around the corner. Don't spend your weekends on a ladder cleaning your gutters when you could be spending time with family and planning that fishing trip. Trust your local gutter pros, Advantage Home Pros. Now your local custom roofing pros. With the highest quality workmanship and materials. Our trained, knowledgeable local pros can handle it all. Trust the pros, AdvantageHomePros.com.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Look at the wet roads. Make sure you're buckled up and the headlights remain on. If you could travel West 94, the area of Hamlin Avenue, got a multi-car wreck off to the right side. Right lane's been reopened, everything off to the right shoulder, but it is still tight through there. Things are tight trying to make way into downtown Minneapolis. South 35W jammed up as you come down from Industrial, grabbing the ramp to Washington Avenue. 35W northbound, a slow ride, Diamond Lake Road, into downtown Minneapolis as well. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
With a well-designed will, trust, and estate plan, you can have peace of mind. Choose Matt Gutman of Gutman Law to give yourself peace of mind. Call him now, 612-895-1616 at gutmanlaw.com. Gutman Law, peace of mind today for tomorrow.
Now the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Gutman Law bringing us the forecast. It's raining. It's going to rain throughout the night. Kind of stinks out there, doesn't it? Low of 42, high of 49 tomorrow. Thursday, a little better. We get to 63. 71 is what it should be. We got spoiled with those 80s. This is how you get to average, Dan. That's a little math for you. Right now, it's gross. 43 degrees as we house it up on drive time.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSHA. Video streaming live on YouTube and always on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Look, we're trying to appeal to the younger demographics. We had a meeting and we said, you know what we need to do? Cooler traffic music, cooler weather music. I do think it is cooler. And then I just killed the move. What is happening here? I drew an absolute mood killer.
Replacements, man. It's a classic.
It's not exactly an energy match.
No, it's not.
It's fine. Hey, congrats to Gabriel in Woodbury, who has an email address that made us both chuckle.
It's fantastic. I can't obviously give it on the air, but
this is a topic for some show.
Yes.
Your embarrassing childhood email address, right?
Childhood.
Gabriel, nothing embarrassing about it. He's in Woodbury. The word fatty is part of it. Gabriel in Woodbury won a 4-pack of tickets this Saturday, May 24th, against Kansas City Royals. Let's go. Get tickets. First 10,000 fans get a Royce Lewis City Connect bobblehead. So presented by Sheboygan. So get your tickets at twins.com/
I do wonder, is it going to be City Connect with blue pants or with the white pants? Because they changed the pants to the white pants this year.
Oh.
Did they update that on the bobblehead plans, or has this been in the works for so long it's the blue?
These are important.
These are the things I worry
These are
about.
important
Yes,
questions.
Absolutely.
Twins game tonight, delayed till tomorrow. So if you're looking for a baseball day tomorrow and you've got a parka, show up at noon or 12:30.
So what they're going to do is
at
finishing the at noon tomorrow. They'll start the game that was suspended last night. So they'll start somewhere in the top of the third inning or so.
Yep.
Play the rest of that game. When that one's done, 30-minute break. and then tomorrow's game would follow that one. The game that was scheduled for tonight is being made up as part of a doubleheader in September. So,
okay,
a lot of moving parts.
We may or may not have a show tomorrow. So what you should do is go to YouTube.
Yes.
And the WCCO radio account and subscribe to our account, first of all. And today's show, I will rewind to hour 2. So at the 2-hour mark, you can hear what happened to me on the subway that created a story that I will be made fun of by my family, probably for the rest of my life. And then you also can judge me on the way I tried to fix it. And who doesn't like to judge others? I know a lot of you are like, oh, judge lest we be judged ourselves. But the truth is you don't have to be judged at all. You can just judge me. That's the beauty of listening to this show. Go to the YouTube, check it out. Let's hope for a Timberwolves win tonight. Henry's next.
Hi, Denny Long here. Join us every Saturday for the Home Improvement Show by Lindis Construction. Andy Lindis and I will be taking your home improvement